Viota tieno, ieno malaganera, velo menesh, ieno. Help me, Lord. Come home, inyami home. Ukamwana, yeah. Dimani na pie kwa mami, se unimwa, yeah. Enimiko, sameni onamwa, namene apim now, Jesus. Enimiko, Jesus, nyami ba Jesus. Enimiko, oh come home. Your presence makes a difference. Lord, help me. Monamina yakupo bibiareni wa ayetimawo bebiani dasonyina sampo ubamwa centranisisi enimiko. Your presence is like an army supporting me, fighting for me. Go with me, Lord. I need your presence, Lord. Viota tieno, ieno malaganera, velo menesh, ieno. Help me, Lord. Come home, inyami home. Dimani na pie kwa mami se unimwa enimi ko sameni onamwa na mene apim now Jesus enimi ko Jesus nyami but Jesus enimi ko oh come home Anna your presence makes a difference. Lord, help me. Onamina yakupo bibiare wa ayedimawo bebiani dasonyina sampo ubemwa centranisisi enimiko samemi onawa namini apimpina enimiko ukame hoa ana Your presence is like an army supporting me, fighting for me. Go with me, Lord. I need your presence, Lord. Vionda dieno, ieno malayanera, venomenesh, iena. Help me, Lord. Come home, inyami home. Ukamwana, Dimani na pie kwa mami, se unimwa, enye. Enimi ko enemy call Jesus, nyame but Jesus, enemy call, oh come home, Anna, your presence makes a difference. Lord, help me. Monamina, Yakupon, Bipiareniwa, Ayatimao, Babiani Dasonina, Sampo, Obama, Centranicisi, and Centranicisi, and Nimin call, and Nimin call, Samimi, oh, Nawa, Namini, Apimpina, and Nimin call, and Nimin call, oh, come home, Anna, and Nimin call, and Nimin call, Samini, oh, Nawa, Namini, Apimpina, Jesus, and Nimin call, Jesus, and Nimin call, oh, come home, Ananya, oh, Kawa, na Yehumi, oh, Kawa, na Yachimi Tumu, oh, Kawa, na Sashaniti Mechi, Jesus, Jesus, oh, Kawa, na Yehumi, oh, Kawa, na Yachimi Tumu, oh, Kawa, na Sashaniti Mechi, Jesus, Yami Jesus, oh, Kawa,
God is good all the time, and all the time the Lord is good. Okahua and ye. What a God we serve. Good morning. It's exactly 6:45 a.m. GMT. In the studios of PAPALAW Radio, we're streaming live on www.mortingghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Stick and stay right here. Mpɔtam morning show with PAPALAW Perfect on PAPALAW Radio. Gracious God, everlasting Father, thank you, Pastor Alex, for the morning dew. Thank you for feeding our soul. We are here to feed our spirit, body, soul. What a God we serve. We can't do this alone without your support. I want you to hit the share button, share the message on your page, on your timeline, send the link to your friends. It's time for Mpɔtam morning show, building communities together with you. I mean you. So hit the share button. Let's build your community together. All the community-based people, call a friend to call a friend that your show is here. Mpɔtam morning show. God is good all the time, and all the time the Lord is good. All right, so we have a lot for you. Go ahead and praise the name of the Lord. David said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord.
Help me, Lord.
In his presence there is fullness of joy. At his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Social media got everybody feeling like they got so many options. You don't pay attention to the people who love, value, and hold you down in real life. PAPALAW Radio, we're rocking wide and we're streaming live on www.mortingghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Visit our website www.papalawmedia.com. Lord, go with me. Without you, I may not go. I can't go without you. You are the altar and finish of my faith. Psalm 91 verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. 1,000 will fall at my side, 10,000 at my right hand. Only with my eyes I will see the reward of the wicked. The internet might make it look like there is plenty of fish in the sea, but most of it aren't worth catching. I promise you, they are useless. Get connected to your source. In fact, when you go fishing and you catch poisonous fish, drop them. Drop it back into the sea. Mema watching, baby, I will be a mema watching, mema wahan, mema wajo. That was sick. So what join here? Facebook, YouTube, PAPALAW Media/TV, PAPALAW Media/TV. Put it into your search engine, PAPALAW Radio/TV. Like the page, put your notification button on so that anytime we come online, you'll be first to be notified. Enemy call. No pain ya minshira. Tine ni munchira. You don't say can be a radin shira son fama. Bible say we defini ufi babe yen shira. Good morning, the presidency. Good morning, the judiciary. Good morning, the parliament of Ghana. Congratulations to our new Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Arabai Saba Tokonu. The way I love this name, Tokonu. All right. So good morning, all drivers and their mates. Good morning, nurses, doctors, politicians, engineers, lawyers, radio broadcasters, the media fraternity. 21 gun salute to the military men. I love their logo. They say we'll defend the borders of this nation even at the peril of our lives. That is how serious the business of being a military officer is. All right, so let me also salute Ghana Police Service, Ghana Fire Service, prison officers. God bless all of you. God keep you and protect you. God bless all students. God bless teachers. God keep you and protect you. I love the background music by Moses. Okay, one of the greatest minstrels of our time. Give God some crazy praise. Go ahead and praise the name of the Lord. Talk to God. Bless the name of the Lord. Give God some crazy praise. I feel like praising God. Now look at the preamble of the Constitution, 1992 Constitution. In the name of the Almighty God, we the people of Ghana, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity, in a spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world, and in solemn declaration and affirmation of a commitment to freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. The principle of universal adult sovereignty, the rule of law, the protection and preservation of fundamental human rights and freedoms, unity and stability for our nation. Do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. So on the premise of this constitution, I'm here to do my mandate as a journalist.
Your presence makes it
to speak truth to power.
help me.
to make sure Ghana is on track. Ghana belongs to all of us. Ghana yemenodia. Wonsum yedinipa na ye. Eradi atom ne to mi mra ye so. Nyame honhom butu so. Eradi hwe wadifi so mechi asofo nyina. The Christopher Muslim for traditional rulers and leaders and worshippers. Enyina ye nipa baako. Alright, name and call, shot fired, fingers crossed. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from every evil, for thine is thy kingdom, the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen and amen. All right, so it's Mpɔtam morning show. It's 6:53 GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're rocking live and we're streaming live on www.mortingghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Stickers did right here. Let me acknowledge those who have made it possible for us to come your way with this awesome program, Mpɔtam morning show. With me, PAPALAW Perfect, my co-host David Santos, and my producer or producers, Jude GH. Now let's acknowledge our sponsors. Disney's Cocktail. Disney's Cocktail has a lot in stock for you. They have Mochaccino, Mijito Passion, Mango Joe, Ginger Pick Me Up, Pina Colada, Long Island Iced Tea, amongst others. They have all kinds of juice for you. Just walk in and enjoy yourself. They can be located at Valley View Estate. Their cocktail is affordable and it's for all occasions. If you're having your wedding celebration, your engagement, your birthday parties, your naming ceremonies, contact Disney's Cocktail on 0246 667897, 0246 667897, or 020 9562 679, 020 956 2679. Disney's Cocktail. Our cocktail is affordable. We serve you the best. Now when it comes to chicken, the only place to go is Kwedu Farms. Eba enkoko yendia ene enkoko tonwa Kwedu Farms. Kwedu Farms were broilers, almost layers. White and almost ton 14 Ghana cedis. Brown almost ton 13 cedis 50 pesos. 13 cedis 50 pesos. Almost cockerels and almost white cocks. And we 2 Ghana cedis. Brown cocks and so almost ton 5 cedi 50 pesos. 5 cedi 50 pesos. Almost apply mouth. The amena friend check, you know. And almost ton of 5 Ghana cedis. Almost Sasso Bears. And also almost ton 9 cedi 50 pesos. 9 cedi 50 pesos. Kwedu Farms here. Almost ton cocoa from the beginning of the year. Kopim afina shasiye kopim neviye. Almost say many seasonal farmer ana okuania owo brea ode yen cocoa na ode ton cocoa dabi. Almost see debi ya. Tuesdays almost hustle money obedidwa. Almost be on my pond ya mami no me no almost Tantra Hills. Almost cocoa so almost Fefi Ivory Coast. Almost ye nationwide delivery so Fred Kwedu Farms. It was 0245 99 0000 0245 99 quadruple 0. And as will be to my from was son ahoma way so 0243 50 2811 0243 50 2811. Now, when it comes to shoes, bags, belt, leather belt, and the likes, the only place to go is Nana One Shoes. Nana One Shoes is into sales of all kinds of shoes for kids and adults. Their shoes is of good quality. Nana One Shoes have a lot in stock. In fact, they do wholesale. They are into wholesale, and on a normal day when you want to buy your shoes, your belt, and your bags, they will sell it to you. They sell in large quantities and in small quantities. Nana One Shoes is located at Community 11, directly opposite Community 11 School Complex. Contact Nana One Shoes on 0256 8361 12. 0256 8361 12. Nana One Shoes, quality is their hallmark. Now, when it comes to photography, one name stands tall, and that name is Shabak Photography. Shabak Photography, formerly Shabarich Photography. Now it's Shabak Photography. They are into all kinds of photography, passport size photograph, photo shoot for all events. They are always ready to give you good shots. Contact Shabak Photography on 0244 671593. 0244 671593. Shabak Photography. They are located at Community 11, adjacent the Presbyterian University, Tema Campus. Now, when it comes to balloon decor, the only place to go is Lotte-Law Balloon Decor. Lotte-Law Balloon Decor. Lotte-Law Balloon Decor is into all kinds of balloon decors. They are also into wrapping of your birthday gift, your engagement gift, your naming ceremony gift, your birthday party gift, and all that. They are ready to wrap your stuffs for you. Contact Lotte-Law on 0542 371320. 0542 371320. Lotte-Law Balloon Decor is located at Community 1, directly opposite Zenith Bank, TMA branch. Contact Lotte-Law for all your balloon decors. On my BA 7 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. It's 7 a.m. Amazing. All right, on my BA God keep us and protect us. May the hand of the Lord rest upon you. May God keep you and protect you. On my BA hit the share button, share the message on your page, on your timeline. Send the link to your friends. Tell your friends it's time for Mpɔtam morning show. But before I give you the headlines for the various newspapers, I would like to give you, as usual, the weather forecast for today so that you prepare ahead. Preparation means a lot when it comes to life journey. So let me give you the weather forecast for today. Southern Ghana will generally be fair today. Sun and cloud will alternate during the day with a few cases of rain and thunder. Over northern Ghana, the start of the day will be bright. Thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of the east later in the morning, says Ghana Meteorological Agency, GMET. Let me take it again. Southern Ghana will generally be fair today. Sun and cloud will alternate during the day with a few cases of rain and thunder. Over northern Ghana, the start of the day will be bright. Thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of the east later in the morning, says Ghana Meteorological Agency, GMET. Every day we got to hear new stuff. These are the headlines for various newspapers. On PAPALAW Radio, we educate, we inform, and we entertain. That is our core mandate. And we are building the communities with you. So tell us about your community, what is happening in your community. Before that, Jachikwe said, doesn't even drink a sin not water. politicians. Want to me hit hard in campaign. I thought as much. We a campaign message. Jachi Kwesen doesn't even drink asin not water. Speaker questions 1992 Constitution regarding chiefs barred from active politics. Can Kuranchie file suit to stop Mahama from contesting 2024 polls? Hey, I don't want to believe that this is a diabolic agenda. Is of the view that the Constitution says that if you are a sitting president and you are vying for re-election or you are going for re-election, that you don't need to report to Parliament. You can just go ahead. But when you are taken out of power and you want to come for a rerun, or you want to stand again to be a president, then you must go to Parliament first. Interesting, Ghana. So all this while we have it in our Constitution, nobody was talking about it. Everybody was not concerned about it. Why now? That's the big question on the table. Why now? Release death report to deceased family. Court orders 37 military hospital. 37 Parliament ignored my petition against Mahama's bid, hence court action. Ken Kuranchie declares. Anyway, the court is there to address some of these issues. He said Parliament ignored my petition against Mahama's bid, hence court action. I remember, you wrote a letter to the then Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Kwe. I remember vividly. Obechebi Lamte interchange, project delays, leaving motorists unhappy. I will lead MPP into historic victory in 2024. Alan Chematin. Parliament to probe killing of 5 suspected land gas at Botiano. 1 district, 1 factory. We have supported 48 companies, not 60. Trade Ministry clarifies. But Kanokware. Interesting, Ghana. Focus on competitiveness as key to SME success. UPSA lecturer. CPP General Secretary calls for support for members to win election 2024. CPP wants it. Mube winning about 2024. Hey, politics moment the power when they even know they are not winning, they say we are winning. We are winning hands down. CPP General Secretary calls for support from members to win election 2024. Not even 2040. You are talking about 2024. Anyway, episode Adani Best or Chiame Kwame, other superstars to headline Ghana Day Festival in Switzerland. U23 AFCON, that is under 23 AFCON. Ibrahim Tanko optimistic about Ghana's chances of winning tournament. Over 400,000 children in Ghana engaged in economic activities in 2021. Ghana Statistical Service declares over 400,000 children in Ghana engaged in economic activities in 2021. Ghana Statistical Service declares. On my be 7 minutes on top of the hour, 7 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're streaming live on www.mortingghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Team Futu Seminole, I'm not paying me the mawano. nefa bobra nyina nchichire Ghana yenchichire Mpɔtam na Ghana nye a better place to live. Maybe so Mpɔtam ene wapra ho wasiesie ho gata no watetim Mpɔtam no show ye vision no ene watete Mpɔtam bia ye fin efin wo ho no yenti Mpɔtam yentete gata tete ne ne afre bibi oman ejuma kwasafu juma nyina yen kamom ne yentete ye gottes mu yen dodo ba bia nwura won yen dodo ba bia monchi monka won yen sesa dote ne yen fele ho kama ne ye gya bibia de ama ban ebre dru se yen so ye bebo ye homode. Special prosecutor declares Charles BC wanted. Kisia Jabe, so you're rugged. The guy is rugged and radical. He said nobody is a saint. He's only doing his core mandate as a special prosecutor. KMA defense tricycle ban in Kumasi. Na abobo ya ne Trotsky no a normal friend is saying, but we own friends saying, dear omodi nkrofo trentremu yi eno so wodin bi prajia ne abopo ya no good yesi Kumasi omo bane na te Mahama pese omo bane wo motorway ni so because ni omo di je wo motorway ni so ehu pa wo hwa na obi atie si wanim ezim zongon oman bi ye fie ye nara. I'm not hiding. Charles BC was say, he said, I'm not hiding. I will avail myself to special prosecutor power day. Now here Kisie Jabia and the body the fear make me so chain. But power day do share. Also watch you. Also amount now year in chain. A new year duania at Samato. O say or see what my wound do year new year duania. O new year duania at Samato. Oh, that one now. Also, be more sleepless night. But what did you fear to me the other? Nanado eto tonesa eche Henry Cote uhye jata ojina hwe uhye ye can say giant ojina ho say go and tell the chief. I say yes sir. I say 21 gun salute. Also man penny me ye ne sa pepe. Ono so kwai ro say ni jata say ai me pass everything. Men pass a minute, oh, pass him. Oh, my penny say, remember, catch us say, sorry if you it will now so say, or born home or DBA, open prayer, or you know. Yeah, my brave 10 minutes on top of the hour, 7 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. You can be the conscience and the spirit of Ghana. Professor Jempu tells Kisi Ejabe, hey. Professor Jampuso, asem bi obekabi. Odi oto wo se he, munya me meso asem na makabi. Meso me ye Ghana ni. Me pede o ye ni mu. If all professors will be vociferous like this, Ghana will be a better place to live. Suspended MPP 2020 Sege parliamentary candidate refute misconduct claims. Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu abhors people without integrity, says one of the friends. Hey, Tokonu. K2 South schools shut down as MC appeals for relief items of flood victims. But you frewa by no mo fa bi mere why not mo for mo mo dia distress rem ko a edra no bi ka kire me say NDC at the voter region yomo World Bank minim say the omo jai ho so omo World Bank omo betena konya so abanwa iso omo tra so a che mo ntu anye keta sea defense no and ye blame government. Yes, utwa ha no atwa ha and na ban so koye shortcut owi ero so matric mo mia na mse meye menye hey Ghana so ye interesting. David Santos,
Attorney General
David Santos,
don't bother to give God instructions, just report for duty.
Don't give
God instructions,
just report
for duty.
Asa finito simplicity.
Yeah.
On tiasia koshepo.
No.
I said PAPALAW Radio. You're taking the space.
Yes.
But obieti here.
Aha ya na obeti.
One tia obeti.
One tia ha, ubeti.
Ubede.
Ubeti.
Mpɔtam morning show. Mpɔtam morning show. Kring 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 kring. Yaba. All right, so stick and stay right here. We're rocking right and we're streaming live on www.modernghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. The best is yet to come. Today we'll be speaking with your mentor, Honorable John Appiah. I love calling him Honorable Doctor, Your Excellency. The titles are too many. He said, I don't like that. I said, you are my excellency in the making. We'll be speaking with him on a very powerful topic. I know you love that topic. Guess it.
I should guess it.
Office romance.
Yeah.
A didido.
Any statistics
office.
Including
where you are thinking.
And it's good you don't know where I'm taking from.
All right, so we will also have the health segment. We'll be speaking with Dr. Brefo Leslie, Standards Clinic. He's a medical practitioner and a dermatologist. And then we are fortunate today we are discussing a very tantalizing, a very intriguing subject with a banking topic, of course. Okay. We are going to do what we call digital banking with the CEO of Opportunity International, Mr. Kwame Owusu. He's the CEO of Opportunity. You've heard about Opportunity International. Yes. It's one great investment company. So we'll be speaking with him.
Interesting.
Yes. So today the show is packed.
Exactly.
We're going to have a nice time. Let's take our motivational quote for the day, and then we'll change direction.
All right. Attorney.
Yes, sir.
A very good morning to each and everyone doing the watching and then the listening this morning. We are back.
That's right.
And so we have reported to work and we are coming to work. Today's motivational message says, loving someone can be like riding in a car with no brakes. You know you might get hurt, but take the ride.
That's right.
At least you tried. Hashtag Kinlaw 1. Hashtag Love Agenda. At least you tried. Attorney.
Yes, sir.
Let's just say when simple, Mami Katri.
Odo your risk.
Yes.
To be taking risk. Don't even dare.
Don't even dare. Don't go there.
Everything that borders on love is all about risk.
Okay.
If you can't risk falling in love, then don't dare. That's why it's like a bicycle riding it's like riding in a car with no brakes.
Yes. Unimpa.
You know you might get hurt.
Yes.
But take the ride. At least you tried.
You tried.
So people get disappointed many times, and the worry is, I loved her so much, but she's broken my heart. I love him so much, he's broken my heart. Let me emphasize here, or be emphatic here. Anything that borders on love, relationship, anything can happen. But the problem with the youth of today is that, or most people, is that we always focus on the positives, which will not always be the case. You may be disappointed.
Exactly.
At some point in time.
Okay.
Which is normal. Why is it that people's focus are always on the positives? It's going to work. The guy loves me. The same guy breaks your heart. The same man you revere as the only mosquito in your net, one day become a tiger to chew you.
Yes.
So we should be ready for some of these things in our relationships and marriages.
No matter what you get.
Yes, I'll hurt you. We are not spirit beings. We are human beings.
Okay.
So you offend me, I will offend you. And at some point, I might break your heart, which is normal. Because we are human, we are emotional beings.
So broken heart is normal.
Yes, it's part of life.
Wow.
We can't avoid it. Interestingly, those you think will not break your heart, they are the same people who breaks our heart. Are we not disappointed so many times? Forget about this amorous relationship and let's talk about even normal friendship.
Okay.
The people you trust, the people you revere so much. They are the people who hurt you. They are the people who break your heart.
So it means those who love us are the people who are good.
Who hurt us? Who else will hurt you? And it's so painful when close people hurt you than outsiders.
Yeah, for that one there, you know.
When people are close and they hurt you, it's so painful. It's heartbreaking. That's it. So at the end of the day, we have to build that tenacity and make sure that yes, we have a lot of challenges, but we should be ready for anything. I know married couple who took their vow on the altar, swore an oath. You know how the vows go.
Yeah, sure.
In good times and in bad times.
For better,
life and death will be. Death will only be the only separator that can separate the two of us. Yet they are now enemies. Some are at the law court as we speak.
Yes, right now.
He told me his husband went to court to say that almost all the properties she has, he should be given portion of it.
Hey.
In fact, the wife was very rich, and the man said his dad told him not to do any property with the wife. So the man had never bought anything, all right, to build a family with the woman.
Hey.
Now the woman was doing, because the woman's father had a lot of money. He was very rich.
Oh.
And so she inherited a very good, properties from the parent. So she is the one taking care of everything, done a lot of properties. Now the guy is calling for divorce, and they are in court and he's demanding for portions of the properties.
Ah!
Yes. So these things happen. He said, my husband was like an angel, but today he's not the angel we know.
Wow.
That is about life. Your take on that one, and then we
so I tell you, you've made justice on this motivational message.
So any news?
Any news? Yes,
sir.
News there. I tell you.
Yes, sir.
What you say? They be a bahanma. The news nenam. Today I'm taking you to Ecuador.
Yesterday you took me to
Turkey. Yes.
And today we are going to Ecuador.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ecuador 95. Where were you then?
95. 95 dear. 95 dear. Mini aquano
cannot be found.
Yeah, mini aquano.
I understand.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes when you are surfing on the internet, you come across a particular news item and you want to click on it. Said site not found or something.
Yeah.
So you were not found. The site David Santos was not even formulated.
Don't do that.
You go ahead. So we are going to Ecuador.
Yeah, Ecuador.
Go ahead.
Ateni. Uko Ecuador. Mami bi aye friend Bella Montayo. We di 76 years. Report say nani hu mfa no. Ena ni ba bema aye friend Gilbert. Edi ni ko hospital. Around 9 o'clock a.m. in the morning. By 12 noon ekoi na doctor see we free. Ama oma ye ni hu papers ni nyina. Entino almost omo di need to adakim. And omo di no coffee. Entino ese omo nya state burial. Edu hon na about 5 hours. Almost say okay, say ye di no go state. Entino ese change na tade na owo mu no e wo hospital na ye di ni to adaka ni mu. Afi omo bi so a mami we na wasore
Jesus Christ.
Eni
eni obi adwane
obia
na nipa yewu nyame adom eye den na ye a obi ewu na yesi wanyane a aden na ye no mudwane
na ateni
no aden na omudwane
ateni obi zabiana
mbisi aden na omudwane
na ateni
mu nipa yewu nyame adom abankwam omo omudwane nyina ye criminal so omo na ekun no Messi
ateni
mudwane a
ateni
o mami ewu.
Okay.
God forbid.
Okay.
But your mom is late. She's been put in state to be buried.
Okay.
Or put inside a casket. Ready to be buried.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden or instantaneously she gets up. Why are you running?
Ateni.
You want
her
alive.
Okay.
And she's back alive. Why are you running?
Ateni. It's
Yes,
different when somebody is in coma. Anyway, what sorry. For that we are aware say yeah train to crash over. But they are declaring say we
No abankwamu.
no abankwamu dey error. Yes.
Ehu dia na se mu na mukun no.
Oh, I tell you.
Eti ye mo wa se bone na mo hyehye ye no. Amamu na fe wa bankwam because mo ye mo sem.
Oh, I tell you.
Na yenye ndai. Onipa wu. How pleasant it will be or the feeling will be like when your
it should be
your loved one who died is back to life.
Oh yeah, for that one.
You can imagine Jesus coming back to life and the disciples, somebody like doubting Thomas.
Yes.
A man who was called Thomas, but because of his doubting prowess, that name had been added to his name till now. Doubting Thomas.
Doubting Thomas.
Somebody who doubted.
Yeah.
One a guy called Thomas, one Thomas who doubts.
He said,
I want to see. Let me put my hand into your palms and see.
To be
when
sure.
you were nailed. You see, those who were willing to meet Jesus, they were happy to welcome him back to life. So why are you running to?
Oh, they are not running because
you are running because you killed the person.
Oh, now I tell you.
Na men ka say.
I tell you. Who there you be away 5 hours. Now I say nyani biom. Who be so now I tell you, the first thing that will come into your mind to go back and later you take a good scan.
Me that's it. All right, so my be here for me 25 minutes on top of the hour 7 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're streaming live on www.modernghana.com online, radiobox.com. I'll go for a quick break, and when I'm back, we'll put this great brain on the line. Mr. John Appiah, he's the president for African Chamber for Youth Development. Stick and stay right here. Mpɔtam Morning Show with PAPALAW Perfect.
Sampaetia Obayansa Fusu Obunibia one kana sam Zema to some kakre wa supeme Yo kofi oh my ya woman oh mani ya mana Geni baby ako wacha za ya wareni Wonsom wani pa asa dipa wo fioye Yamo yembera ebe ya ifiyena Omaya umano Omaya mamana Hadi waya nora Nyamichata Nyamana renya Wanso wanyinyipa Sawaya wanabe Yamo yembera ebe ya ifiyena Wanso wanyinyipa Depa of yo, come on, Yambrae, Abeya, Efiana, Amabeya, Efiana, Amabeyo, Asitebeya, Efiana, oh, Amabeya, Efiana.
On my be here for me 27 minutes on top of the hour 7 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're streaming live on www.modernghana.com online, radiobox.com. We're rocking white and we're streaming live on YouTube, PAPALAW Radio /TV, On Facebook, PAPALAW Radio/TV. Put into your search engine, PAPALAW Radio/TV. Like the page. Put your notification button on so that anytime we come online, you'll be first to be notified. I told you earlier on that we have a lot in store for you today. God's grace is sufficient here, and we know you are doing very, very well. You're in the right frame of mind to enjoy the show from the beginning to the end. Today we have banking issues for you. We have a great banker and financial expert in the person of Mr. Kwame Owusu, who will also be speaking to us about digital banking. A lot of people have a wrong assertion about digital banking. I mean, it's a ding-dong affair. When you go digital, you have the advantages and the disadvantages. You have the pros and cons, and sometimes you can be defrauded. A lot of stuffs are happening digitally, and when I hear the word digital, one person comes to mind, Mr. Digitalization, His Excellency Dr. Mamudu Bawumia. All right, so in the political front, the NPP is of the view that Jachi Kwesen had never taken water from the river of Asin North. Now we a campaign message. Untumi nso de wo ye nsem papa wasa ko pie Asin North. So okoye o magic no, ni okoye wo kumawu no. All right, so without wasting more time, I want you to hit the share button, share the message on your page, on your timeline, send the link to your friends. I have on the line to speak to this awesome subject. I love this subject, and I pray that every Tom, Dick, and Harry will enjoy this particular topic, office romance. He's in the person of Mr. John Appiah, my excellency, honestly. He's the president for African Chamber for Youth Development. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
My excellency.
Honorable.
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, God has given us life. I mean, there are a lot of things going on, but we are hopeful that we'll overcome. Yeah.
It can only get better.
That's right.
We thank God. And how's the family?
Oh, we are well by His grace.
So let's talk briefly about A-League and African Chamber for Youth Development. Briefly.
Okay, great. So the A-League Consult is a human capital development organization that essentially focuses on how you can improve the capacity of people you work with. And for us, our interest in this particular subject of office romance is that it has a lot to do with human capital development, because at the end of the day, the people involved in office romance and all that are part of the human capital for businesses and for organizations, and therefore it's important we discuss this taboo subject, and bring a lot of perspective and light to it. So our interest in the A-League Consult is that through this discussion, for example, people will get information, people will get knowledge, people will get the necessary mindset that would help them to be able to make the best out of the office situation. So that's the A-League Consult, and that's what we do. So we provide training, we provide capacity building, we provide skills development for businesses and organizations. And then the African Chamber for Youth Development is the hub for training and developing young African leaders from across the spectrum. So from policy to politics to people that are into finance, advocacy, and all that. The Chamber provides that hub where we'll provide the requisite training they need in order to be able to be effective leaders. So that's the brief, what the A-League is about, and then what the African Chamber for Youth Development
in fact, with
about.
this topic coming on air, David Santos, your mentee, and a couple of the staff here are so much interested in this particular topic, and I'm imagining or guessing if it's already happening within our score. I don't know the way they were so
open your eyes, shine your eyes.
We have to shine our eyes.
I can hear them laughing in the background.
All right, so let's go straight to the topic. And what does the word office romance mean?
Okay, so from my experience as a human capital development person and my experience working with businesses and organizations, I think that the term office romance is even limiting, because then when you talk about office romance, people just look at the office setting, just the normal 8 to 5 kind of setting where people are wearing tie and suit, and therefore any amorous relationship that goes on within that setting qualifies to be called office romance. But today, through this discussion, I want people to look at it beyond just the concept of the office, just beyond the concept of the 8 to 5 boundaries, but to look at it in a different perspective. And this is how I want people to see it. You know, the whole concept of office romance essentially comes into being or comes into manifestation or comes into existence when two members of a business establishment. All right. The emphasis is on business establishment. So it could be in the office, normal, formal office setting. It could be co-workers in an office space. It could even be two people working within a shop. Because what happens is that there's a work environment. So two people who, had it not been for the purposes of work, they will never have met. But they are meeting now, yes, because of the purposes of business or work. So it could be workers in an office, it could be workers on a shop, it could even be people in the same organization, an NGO, in the same even religious organization, and for the purposes of a better description, maybe people in the same church, maybe in a particular physical location.
So this cut across.
It cuts across, and it is very important we elaborate for people to understand. People that even worship together in a church, in the same physical location, people that worship together maybe in a mosque, in the same location, you know. So the point is that any other thing that brings people together for the purposes of advancing business objectives or advancing organizational objectives, it is likely that two people can fall in love, and that can constitute or become what we call office romance. Even to the point that if your workstation is on a trotro, I'm just giving a typical example, on public transportation, you are a conductor on a public transport, and then you fall in love with your driver who works in the same bus, you know. So we need to look at it beyond that. It could be Kaya people who are working together. It's purely business, but because they have come together because of business, then there's a likelihood or tendency that they may fall for each other in the work environment. See, all these scenarios have painted or creates the phenomenon we call office romance.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So once an environment to work or for work is created, office romance is bound to happen.
I won't say bound to happen. It is likely to happen.
Likely to happen.
If you say bound to happen, it means that it's happening in every but at least the chances of it happening is on the high. If two or more people congregate for the purposes of business, likely or most likely there may be the tendency for people to get into such a romantic relationship. And you know, I need to also establish this foundation. Our hormones and our emotions don't think.
Our hormones and emotions
don't think. They don't have a mind of their own.
This is a major headline. This is
exactly. They don't have a mind on their own.
That's why a general can just go and rape maybe a 10-year-old girl.
Yes, because the emotions and feelings
don't think.
And they don't think. They don't have a mind on their own. The hormones don't have a mind on their own. All right. So we cannot say that once you get into the work environment, suspend your emotions, throw your hormones away, and just go and work and come back. It is not likely to happen that way. All right. And we as human beings become emotionally involved in the things we do. That's why there's something called passion. Some people can be so passionate about the work that they are doing because they have invested their emotions and their feelings into their job. That's why sometimes when people are sacked from work, they cry. Sometimes when people are sacked from work, they go through broken heart because they may have been so attached to this business and to that particular job or that particular organization that once they are asked to leave, maybe because of one or two reasons, it affects them so much. That is even why when people are even laid off in the heat of COVID, a lot of people were laid off. So people were broken and shattered because, yes, they are depressed. They had committed a lot to work. And unfortunately, they had to let go. So we should not restrict, we should not say that, yes, once you're working, then your emotions are also working and rational. No, our emotions and our feelings and our hormones may not subject themselves to rational thinking. All right. And it is normal for human beings to, you know, have their emotions at play and their hormones at work and all that. So it's understandable. So people sometimes blame themselves too much. Oh, I could have avoided. Yes, you could have avoided it. The other things you may have done that could have helped. But the point is that you cannot suspend your emotions and your feelings and your hormones because you're in the work environment.
So once intimacy is established, the possibility is very high, right?
Exactly. It's very, very high.
All right.
Very,
So,
very
are
high.
there any types of office romance?
Okay, so even before I go to the types of office romance, I need to also I establish why sometimes office romance happens. You see, we tend to spend more time at work, all right, because of the nature of our lifestyle. We tend to spend much of our time at work because you see, you need to be able to put bread on the table. And for that to happen, you have to work. Even the good book says that he who does not work, let him not eat.
That's right.
So the tendency for you meeting somebody at work whom you spend a lot of time with, whom you are most of the time moving with or working with or affiliated to and all that is very, very high. And the moment you start meeting people and you work with people over a period of time, it is natural that you develop some emotions for them.
Okay.
And I must be quick to add that you see, sometimes people are able to exercise self-control. It doesn't mean that those thoughts don't cross their minds or those thoughts don't get into their thinking.
That's right.
But it's just that at certain levels, people are able to exert a certain level of control. And then sometimes, too, organizations put in place very strict policies that sort of attempts to restrict, office romance and stuff like that. But
Within
honestly,
the same company,
within the
some
same
of them
company,
will tell you can't be friend. One must go and one must stay.
Yes, but you see, I always put up these things when I meet with the HR directors and CEOs. I ask them that, look, you can have an alcohol detector or a device that can detect the level of alcohol in a person biologically and scientifically. But how can you determine whether or not Mr. A is in love with Mr. B?
That's
Because
right.
you see, people can pretend. They can come to work and they will swear that
Whatever
they are
is even
enemies.
going on, you will know.
I'm telling you, but the
Yeah.
moment they go back to their various homes,
Maybe they
may be
even slept
deeply
together
involved.
last night. They were on the
I am
same bed.
telling you, okay,
come
but they
come to
can come
work
to
and
work
act as
and
if
pretend
nothing
as
has
if nothing
happened.
has
Yeah.
happened. Exactly.
People
So
can be
it's a
very
very sensitive.
pretentious. Yeah.
It is a very sensitive subject, all right?
I
So
like
people
this
need to
topic.
understand that. Yes, people need to understand that the tendency and likelihood that it may happen is always very high, and that even for people that have put in place very strict policies and all that, people are pretenders. People are. I know of a situation where someone was in a relationship with somebody in the office, but nobody knew. So what happened was that about 3 months to their wedding, one had to resign. By the time we realized we had invitation cards to
That's
come
right.
for a
You
wedding,
see,
and he said, "So how did that happen? Are you telling us within 3 months you fell in love and you got married?"
they've been
You know,
dating for
uh,
long.
yes, and I should even extend this office romance, saga to even cover classroom relationships because sometimes lecturer-student
Teachers,
relationship,
that's right. Which is
teacher-student
bound to
relationship,
happen.
it is all within the setting of work.
Okay.
So then it can qualify to be called, that kind of office romance or office relationship, office romantic relationship, obviously. So when you talk about the types of office romance or the manifestations of the office romance, one of the most likely one that happens is the love relationship or intimacy that occurs between mentors or supervisors and their subordinates. That is where a lot of problem exists because you see, as human as we are, once there is power and there's authority and there's influence, there's a likelihood for people to succumb to certain things that under normal circumstances they wouldn't do. So most of the office romance scandals that has ever hit, the face of human capital development, most of the time it's between somebody who's high up in the office, high up the corporate ladder, high up, the ranks in the business, and then a subordinate. Either the person is an entry level person, either the person is an intern, either the person is a national service person, and that kind of stuff. So the first form that it usually manifests in is in the place where mentors or supervisors who are at the top have that kind of intimacy or relationship with their subordinates. And it is very, very common. So business owners, CEOs, managing directors, people in the C-suite executives, they are naturally powerful because they have a lot of influence in their business, in their offices. And that can also lead, people to fall into that kind of relationship. Because you see, once there's power play, people want favors, people want to be promoted, people want to rise up the ranks, people want to get the opportunity to advance in terms of their career. So all these things provides an avenue where usually the people at the top can exploit or manipulate the people below. And I must also be quick to us, sometimes it is not the fault of those at the top. Those at the bottom can also entice, they can also lure, they can also set up and eventually get some of these top-notch people to fall in romantic relationships with them because they know what they can get from them. So we shouldn't always be quick to blame the supervisors and the bosses and the mentors and all that. Sometimes the mentees, sometimes the subordinates, sometimes the employees, they will orchestrate a grand scheme, and eventually those at the top, or some people at the top, may be vulnerable.
I know you always don't want to like touching on certain issues, but this one is in the public domain about this a banking manager. There was this manager in one of the companies with a lady
national
they
service
employed.
personnel.
Yes, national, and
It was
a lot
big
happened.
scandal.
So that's right.
A big scandal. Yeah. So even when we go to some of the implications of office romance, it can even wreck marriages, because at the end of the day, we'll get to it. We'll talk about the extramarital relationships. But this one, the assumption is that your boss is not married and you are also not married, and then you decide to go in for a dating relationship or a romantic relationship. So it happens a lot. And please, let's not blame only the bosses. Let's also blame the subordinates, because then they can also, influence this romantic relationships to happen. And people are always blaming the men. Charlie, sometimes the women to take advantage of the men. So it could be a woman in authority, a woman in power that will entice a younger person, or probably the same age, but because of office rank and power, the woman in power is more obviously powerful than the person at the bottom.
That's right.
And they can lure and entice, men to get into such relationships. So let's not be casting stone and say that, it is only the men that go after the girls. Sometimes the women also go after the men in this kind of supervisor, subordinate relationship, mentor, subordinate relationship. So that's one. Then there's also the kind of office romance that exists between people on the same level in the business. All right. That one, it can even be people who are even business partners. So let's say you are setting up a radio station, somebody's bringing equity in terms of funding into your business, and you are business partners. So you go to business meetings, board meetings, you travel all over the world to do business and all that. The likelihood and tendency for you to fall for each other because of the close proximity and because of the working nature of your business, it's very high. So at the peer level, when you talk about office romance, it could be between people in the same rank. You are all in the same rank. You are all on the same level. And that can also result in the office romance. Now, there's what we typically will call a fling. Now, a fling is a very short-lived romantic entanglement. Okay. So it could be a one-night stand and then everything stops. It could be just 2 weeks or 3 days, and then an encounter like that. Maybe you go for a trek somewhere. Unfortunately or fortunately, one of your colleagues or one of your business partners or the people you're working with of the opposite gender is just 2 doors away from you. The person comes over in the evening and says, my air conditioning remote is not working. Can you help me put it on? And then by the time you realize Netflix is on, and by the time you realize you have slept together without any But that one is even difficult to say you don't pre-plan, because how can something just happen like that? But the point is that they are usually friends. After that one night stand, they become enemies. They don't talk to each other again, and the focus is now on business. Maybe because they realize that it's a mistake. But usually it is very, very uncommon, because the flings can stretch, go for days, go for months, and even go for years. All right. So that one we cannot write away. Sometimes flings happen. Then there's also the long-term office romance relationships. Now, usually this kind of relationships has ended up in marriage. Because I know people that have worked together in the same business environment who are now happy, that are now married. I've seen a doctor marry a nurse before. I have seen a teacher marry a student before. I have seen a CEO marry a customer service executive before. So there are some that may normally lead, or over the long term can lead into a more permanent relationship that may result in marriage. All right. And then there's this dangerous one, which is the extramarital affairs. That one happens between people that are already married. So it's possible that the two culprits in this particular scenario are all both happily married, but because of work, they get to spend a lot of time together. Typically, people will blame the boss and the PA kind of relationship, because your personal assistant is with you everywhere you go, if it's people of the opposite gender. I know that some people necessarily make it a point that, look, I would rather have a person of the same gender become my personal assistant, because I don't want any problem. Because this personal assistant, if it's of the opposite gender, is getting you food to eat. You go to meetings with the person. If you need water or coffee or drink or tea, the person is preparing it for you. You are virtually seeing the person every day in and out. And that's why sometimes married women have a lot of problems with their husband who have personal assistants who may be charming and very beautiful.
That's right.
because they know that, look, body no be firewood.
That's right.
You get that point. So that kind of extramarital affairs also happens a lot, especially in office settings, because most of the time the CEO may be a married person and all that. The supervisors may be married and all that, but then they may in turn have relationships with people who are not yet married or who may even be married. So sometimes I've heard of very terrible scandals where in a particular office setting, married people are sleeping with each other as if it's nobody's business. So these are, in my opinion, 4 or 5 types of office romance scenarios that can happen in the settings of work.
Great. Is this a very common thing? Any statistics to support this assertion?
Yes. So first of all, I put a caveat to the point that one of the most easiest things to hide is office romance or romantic relationships, because you cannot test it. You cannot put a machine in the office and say that, oh, come and pass through the machine if you are in any amorous relationship. Yes, the machine will go
that
off.
would be interesting.
Look, the day some organizations will fit such a machine in the office, the company will collapse, because people will not come. They will not subject themselves.
Some companies, some people even deal with some companies because of the beauty of the ladies around.
Exactly. And the point is that some people, in the nature of their work, they are most likely to appear very attractive because they're looking for customers, they're looking for clients, and sometimes businesses strategically put very attractive people at certain points. Have you ever entered into, let's say, a banking hall where you meet people that are camping behind the counter?
That's right.
It's very unlikely. You meet very attractive people, and sometimes in the spirit of customer service, oh, good morning, how can I help you? Sometimes a smile alone can cause you to open an account when you don't plan to open an account.
That's right.
So it is something that happens very commonly. So a particular research was done, this was done by Forbes, and these are some of the findings that came up through the research. About 46% of the respondents admitted to the fact that they have had romantic feelings towards a colleague. 46%.
Wow.
And 39. So those ones, they admit that yes, I may have had some feelings, but I didn't end up in a romantic relationship with a person, but the feelings were there. And out of that, 39% of them admitted to actually having a secret romance at work.
Wow.
And then 17% admitted that they had a one-night stand with a co-worker.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, So 46%, almost close to about half of the people that were interviewed in this particular survey in 2023, admitted that, yes, I've had some feelings towards this particular person. Sometimes people even develop crush. So they know that, hey,
so they will
Mr.
be
A has a crush.
fighting
Yes,
in the same company over one
in the same
woman
company,
or man.
exactly. That's what the boys will call the rat race.
The rat race,
how can you rat race your CEO? Are you on track? It won't work, because the person employs you and pays you. So if your CEO is interested in a particular person and you're also interested in a particular person, then it becomes a tug of war, and that is why it is disadvantageous to enter into office romance or those romantic relationships. It affects productivity at work, and if you go into those specifics, I can share some examples with you. But this is the statistics. About 46% of them have admitted that they have romantic feelings. And I was explaining to you that sometimes there's something we call a crash. You may not necessarily go and tell the person, but when you see the person, your body mechanism changes. Your hormonal levels becomes unbalanced. Something radiates through your spine. Immediately you are polishing, you are shining up, but you may never have the courage to actually approach such a person.
When you meet them, you become gentle automatically.
If you are buying even wele, you don't want to buy wele again. Say, give me fish 2, give me meat 5. Meanwhile, you don't have the money to pay because of the influence of some of these things.
That's right.
So about 46% of people who were interviewed for that particular survey admitted that they may have had romantic feelings towards a colleague, and there's nothing wrong with that. Once you don't implement it or get it into fruition, fine. But 39% admitted that they moved from that stage where they just had the romantic feelings and actually went a step ahead or a step into the thing to actually get intimate with the people. And then 17% of the people admitted that it was just a fling, it was just a one-night stand. After that, we came back to normal. The settings came back to auto-reset and all that. But that is a statistic.
Factory mode.
Factory mode, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so what are some of the possible causes of office romance?
Okay, so one of the most likely causes of office romance, obviously, is the fact that we spend a lot of time at the office. We spend a lot of time working. And sometimes you don't determine who it is that you want to work with. it so happens that, well, you are part of the sales team and this person is also a part of the sales team. So by the time you realize you are spending lots of time together, you are calling the person at odd hours, sometimes for office information and then all those other things. And then by the time you realize you are deeply involved in a relationship that you cannot extricate yourself from it. Entanglement that can even sometimes create a lot of issues and problems for you. So I think that one of the major causes of office romance usually happens when people sort of work together for a long time, over a period of time. Then that sort of attraction happens. You cannot help it. Like the 46% of the people that admit that this is how I feel towards, this particular person, what will happen is that when you actually continue to work in that same scenario for a lot of times over a period of time, it can actually end up in you realizing or rationalizing your emotions for that person. So typically, if you are working with a colleague and the nature of your work, sometimes you go beyond the office hours. So by 5 o'clock, people have left, but you are staying behind because you have targets to meet. You are probably preparing for a bid. You are preparing for a very interesting proposal, and it's just the two of you left in the office. Nobody is there. And by the time you realize, you are stealing glances at each other, and by the time you realize, you have lost focus from the bid you are preparing, and then one thing leads to another, and then by the time you realize, you are locked up in that relationship. So that work-related interaction sometimes gives the opportunity for people to be acquainted with each other, your ideas, your thoughts, your cultures, your mannerisms, and so on. So people will tell you that it's better to fall in love with somebody you know than somebody you don't even know. This is the person you have worked with Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays as well. So that provides that very conducive atmosphere that can sort of lead people to actually fall in that kind of relationship. Then the second thing I'll talk about is the power play. Everybody respects power. Everybody wants to have people on their sides. Everybody would want to get people to support them here and there. So sometimes, because of the power play at work, he's my manager, he's my supervisor, he's my finance director, he's my immediate boss, and all that. Sometimes that power play in the office can lead people or push people to get into office romance. And that is something we cannot hide away from, or that's something that we cannot deny. And the third thing that sometimes causes, office romance is that sometimes you may be facing personal challenges and difficulties that you may want somebody who may appear to be neutral to listen to you and to sort of give you the kind of emotional support you need. And that sometimes can trigger, an office romance relationship. And eventually, somebody you may have seen as a trusted person you are sharing your thoughts and your issues with and your personal matters with may become intimately involved with you. And then eventually, it may lead to people involved in a romantic relationship, and that in itself can lead to office romance. So for me, these are the three main causes that can usually trigger this office romance relationships we're talking about.
Great. So how do you deal or handle office romance?
Okay, so that's very important. So even though I allude,
you see, today the way I'm asking the questions, it means I'm listening
deeply.
No interruptions.
Absolutely.
No interruptions.
So the number one thing that we advise, especially businesses and organizations, to do is to have a formal laid down guideline that regulates relationships in the office. All right. So these relationships should be sort of codified and kept in the guideline or the employee handbook that will guide people. That, for example, in our organization, we don't encourage two people in the same department or in the same office to fall in love. If you realize that you are falling in love with each other, just report to your HR. One will be transferred to another branch, or one will have to move on. One has to take the decision that I'm no longer interested in working here because of the romantic feelings. Because you see, my brother, when you're in a romantic relationship with somebody, it affects work, because your sense of judgment is impaired. Sometimes you may be tempted to be lenient dealing with that person, and your co-workers are watching and they are embittered.
That's where the dilemma comes in.
Exactly. Why is it that when this one was late, you didn't say anything, but when this one was late, you said something about it? And you see, the interesting thing too, sometimes people can reject advances and proposals in the office setting, and people can be turned into enemies as a result of that. You love me, I don't love you. Is it by force? Because of that, you are maltreating me, you are giving me a lot of work to do, you are giving me headache, you are screaming at me and shouting at me. All these things can be manifestations of the fallout of office romance. All right. So usually in solving this problem, the first thing we advise is that there should be a form of laid down procedures or guideline that everybody that works in that organization should know and should be able to, as it were, append their signatures to be able to admit that, yes, I know that this particular office setting doesn't promote something like that. So because of that, I am going to ensure that I will not get involved in anything like that. What that means is that once you have admitted or signed up to that policy document, if anything happens, you can be liable. You can be, put through a disciplinary action because you have, in your own way, admitted that yes, you have signed to it and you don't want to be part of it. All right. Now, the second thing too, I would say is that sometimes the leaders in those businesses or in these businesses should lead by example. They should lead by example. And you see, sometimes people can't keep their mouth shut. You are the CEO, you are the managing director, the business belongs to you, and you are in a amorous relationship with one of your workers. It is between the two of you, but maybe the second party may not be discreet and may want to show to a friend. Maybe you have pictures on the phone, you have pictures together and all that. Maybe the person is supposed to call you Director John, but because of the relationship you have with the person outside the office, sometimes the person sees you and wants to call you by your first name, wants to call you by your nickname. Sometimes they may even make a mistake and say in a staff meeting, they say, oh, honey, are you kidding me? In a staff meeting, you're addressing your boss and saying, honey,
baby.
then you cover your mouth because baby, although you so the likelihood that people will see or find out is very high. And I call some people office romance detectives. They are opening their eyes wide, they are monitoring, they are watching, they are following, they are sniffing and smelling, and eventually when they hear, it becomes the talk of the whole place. All right. So we encourage employers
so you're in the
to
company, but they are talking at your back. I mean,
I'm telling
this
you,
one and this one is going out to the
yes. And the dangerous part is when two people fall in love with one person. So sometimes you hide another party to follow them. Madam, follow them. They're going for lunch. Go and see what they are doing. And all that. And it doesn't affect it doesn't augur well for productivity.
That's right.
All right. So the second thing is that look, you need to lead by example. Very important, because you see, if you are not morally strong or you're not leading by example, how can you correct? So when an issue comes before you, when an issue comes, imagine that you're already in a deep relationship with somebody in the workplace and you are the managing director or the HR director, and then a case comes before you involving other people in a relationship. How would you even, what's the moral right with which you can even handle it? So we tell people to lead by example. And then the third thing is that we encourage people to use good judgment. Very important. Self-discipline, self-control are important virtues. That is why even in some organizations, when they are recruiting, they are looking out for traces of self-discipline and traces of self-control, because they need people that are focused in order to be able to do the work. All right. So you need that sense of judgment, you need that sense of self-discipline and self-control to be able to commit to the work and not get yourself in any manner of entanglement. All right. Now the other thing too is that we sometimes you have to provide training, especially for supervisors and managers, about sexual harassment, because sometimes people are harassed at the workplace, and sometimes it's not just physical touches or physical engagement. Sometimes emotional harassment, which has to do with sexual, harassment as well. So you see your secretary or one of the people you're working with, like, oh, beautiful girl. And even in the office setting, you're calling somebody Ahofe. You're calling somebody Coca-Cola shape. Titles now, you are calling somebody Coca-Cola shape. You are aptly describing
the only mosquito in my net.
Can you imagine? And you are so there's so many forms of sexual harassment that people will have to be trained to be able to identify. Sometimes a male colleague is talking to a female colleague. Instead of looking into her eyes, you are looking into her boobs area. And it becomes so obvious that you are physically enamored by the person's appearance, and that can be sexual harassment. The person may not be comfortable, but because you're the supervisor or the boss, the person can't talk, to the point where people are even touching people intimately in the name of work, and you strike the person on the bum and say, oh, the officer, human here, then all these things can be forms of sexual harassment. So there should be trainings that should be done to allow people to be able to know what is right and what is wrong. Okay. The other thing too is that sometimes you need to create that atmosphere where employers or supervisors or superiors don't have access to the private matters of individuals. Because sometimes once people have access to your private issues, you become very vulnerable. All right. So there should be a policy, or there should be a sort of a mechanism to protect people's privacy, so that people don't intrude into other people's privacy and take advantage of that and use it to advance their own cause or to advance their own, ideals. All right. So we need to make sure that there are boundaries that are there, that are set clearly, so that people don't, cut those boundaries or go beyond those boundaries. And in the line of work, they should be laid down, boundaries. You cannot go into the office without knocking. You cannot do this. You cannot sit on a table with your colleague. You have to sit at the desk or sit on your chair. The two of you cannot share one chair, and so many other things that people have to be clear on so that people will know. Sometimes people are so strict to the point that in the office setting, if you are in the office kitchen and you're eating, you cannot share the same plate with another person, because all these things introduces forms of bonding. And by the time you realize you're already into an intimate relationship, that may be to the detriment of the work you are doing in the office. So these are some of the things that people can do that can help, in a way control. We may not be able to 100% control it, but at least when we put some of these measures in place, these conscious efforts, it can be managed to the barest minimum. Yes, please.
That's amazing. So are there any legal considerations or policies that companies should put in place regarding office relationship?
Yes. So that's something that in some instances you will have to sign a bond or no. Okay, well, let me put it this way. Sometimes in your terms of employment, there are things that are spelled out in the employee handbook that you have to sign to, which means that in case you are involved in anything like that, you can be held liable, because they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So this time you are notified, you are told that over here in this office, we don't encourage this and that and this. When we suspect this and this is happening, you go to a disciplinary process, we'll do our investigations, and if we find out, we will make sure one of you leaves or both of you leaves. All right, that one, it is per the organization, it is per the business, and that is subject to the business. It may be different in other organizations, but the point is that where there are these laid down procedures and policies, you have to take note of it. Secondly, we are governed by the bigger law, the Constitution, and if you violate somebody's sexual feelings, or if you are caught in any form of sexual harassment or rape or anything like that, the law would deal with you. Your business will give you up for the law to deal with you. If the person lodges a formal complaint at the police or at the crime unit or wherever it is, the law would deal with you because you have gone against the laws. So people will have to understand that sometimes things may go out of the ambit or out of the purview of the office and even get into criminality. And where criminality is involved, you cannot run away from the law. So people should have this consciousness as they engage in some of these relationships, because sometimes a broken relationship, imagine you are in love with somebody in the office, you've been dating for a few months or years, and then all of a sudden there's a broken heart. People become so influenced and affected that, the bitterness, you see the person, you want to pick up a stone and strike the person. You are in the same meeting environment with the person, and you see the person also falling for another person, and you are jealous, and that those kind of negative energy does not help productivity and does not augur well for the progress of the business. So most of the time it is frowned upon that, look, as much as possible, let's not get into any form of emotional or sexual entanglement that can affect the nature or the course of the work. But again, we are human beings, and sometimes we just can't listen and we don't even pay attention to some of these things. But there's always a tendency and a likelihood that things like that may happen.
So what advice will you give to individuals who find themselves in an office romance, and how can they navigate the situation while maintaining professionalism and avoiding conflict of interest?
Very good question. Very good question. And I'll give you an example of one of the biggest scandals that ever hit the world. It was the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky.
That's right.
Can you imagine that high level, powerful person, and then an intern, in quote, an ordinary intern. So now, even someone like Monica Lewinsky, I'm sure that she may not even live a normal life.
Sorry to cut in. Most of the time, I've realized that all these men with these scandals, when they are scandalized, when you look at the person in question, you are like, these are people who have seen all the women, all the men. The handsome people, the beautiful people. Why this person? Sometimes
that's why I tell you, emotions don't think.
That's right.
Emotions and our emotions and our feelings and our hormones, they don't think. So the likelihood of, if you don't put specific measures in place, you may fall victim to it. All right. So the first advice that I'll give to people is that, look, think about yourself, number one. Think about your career. Think about where you want to go. Because I can dare say that if you're not careful, a scandal that may have happened even whilst we're doing national service can come to haunt you when you're looking for a top position in an organization somewhere.
That's right.
Look at this banker whose issue came out in the
Yeah.
public domain.
That's
Can
right.
you imagine how it's going to affect his career going, unless he sets up his own business and he works for himself? Any other business may not want to be associated with that. And even I remember in the US, Tiger Woods got involved in a relationship that eventually affected his endorsement deals. I think it was Nike or Adidas or one of those sporting companies that withdrew from that relationship or that endorsement deal because of that illicit relationship that he got involved in. So you see, you have to think about yourself. Number one, think about your future. Think about the kind of career you want to live. Think about the fact that you want to have peace of mind to be able to progress. So if you are starting off fresh and you have made up your mind that in every workplace you find one person to fall in love with, and you're going to work in 10 different organizations before you eventually get to the top, imagine the baggage and the excess baggage you'll be carrying on your back, you know. So you need to be very careful. Then sometimes too, I encourage HR practitioners or business owners, when they are recruiting, they have to be very careful in the interview process. You need to be able to identify, because sometimes people come to the interview and some of their mannerisms and gestures and the way they are looking at you and they are eyeing you some way and they are licking their lips and you are there, you are smiling and say, yeah, I can't wait to work with you. You are opening yourself up to a potential scandal. So even in the recruitment process, you have to be able to put things in place. And sometimes I know people who have said to themselves that they are not going to be in the same room or office with a person of the opposite gender if there's not a third party. Sometimes it's a way of protecting yourself. So even the person is your personal assistant, but anytime you call the person in, you call another person in, or Jack, please come and sit down. Let's have this small meeting, because you don't want any problem. So sometimes you have to protect yourself. You have to put in place measures that will preserve your integrity, because in business, integrity is everything. There are people that are doing well in business, but they are not respected because of the scandal surrounding them. People give them the accolades, but behind their back, people are talking about their moral integrity. I know CEOs that have slept almost with everybody in their workplace.
That's crazy.
And they think that everybody knows it, and it's an open secret. Oh, this one is a known womanizer, this one is a known, in quote, mananizer, and you know, it is all over the place. So you need to think about your reputation, and business reputation is important. Business integrity is important. Brand integrity is important, because you see, sometimes you are a reflection of that particular organization. You know, so you need to take all these things into consideration. And then finally, I will advise especially those who are lower in the ranks that don't think that because this person has power to promote me, if I fall in love with the person, automatically I'll be promoted. Especially when people fall in love with the wrong people. They claim to have power, but they don't have power. They are caretakers of the organization. They can be sacked at any time, but they can pretend to look like their business belongs to them. We have watched movies and sitcoms where drivers of offices or businesses take their CEO's car and use it to do things, and people think that, oh, this car belongs to this person. Boss. Meanwhile, the person is just an ordinary person who's dressed nicely and neatly, but is taking advantage of the office to be able to do things and all that. You know, so we need to be very conscious in this approach. We need to be very careful in this approach, because at the end of the day, there's nothing that will be hidden under the sun. The scandals will come out. One person tells another person, and then he tells another person, especially for people that are married. Imagine the havoc it will create on the home. Your children will be devastated. They go to school and people are laughing at them that, hey, that's what your father did, that's what your mother did, you know, and all those kinds of things psychologically impact. You know, then you go through the divorce process and the bitterness, the anger, the curses that go up and down because of a broken relationship, and then all that. Sometimes I have seen the married women go to the offices to attack people because they know that these are young girls that are enticing my husband. He doesn't want to come home. Every time he's going on a trek, every time he's going on a business trip, you know. So look, we are flesh and blood, but we need to put some measures in place to protect ourselves for the sake of our integrity. For the sake of our integrity, for the sake of our reputation, and for the sake of the future that lies ahead of us, we need to be very careful about these amorous office relationships and all that, and try to stay focused so that we can at least make some progress with the businesses we work with.
I wish we don't end, but because of our time, we'll do part 2 tomorrow. Yes, with your permission, we'll do part 2. But
no problem.
Let me conclude with this one. Let's wrap up with this particular question, which is very important to me. Let's talk about...
I'm now scared. The way you are putting it, I know you. The questions you can ask.
So let's talk about disclosure. Should employees be required to disclose their romantic relationships to their superiors, or human resource managers? What are the benefits and drawbacks of such a policy?
Okay. So you see, disclosures are very important.
Okay.
And remember, I also mentioned something about privacy issues. So sometimes people would want to keep a number of things private to themselves. And of course, what you do with yourself, you know, in relationships, in sexual relationships and all that, is private and personal.
That's
all right. But to a certain large extent, sometimes it is best if you are able to disclose, for example, that you are working in this organization and you are a married person. You declare your assets. In course, you declare your stance that, look, I'm a married person. Not every married person wears a ring. And sometimes that's where people make a mistake, you know. So when it comes to matters like that, I think that disclosures are very important. But disclosures, the disclosures should be also premised on privacy respect, so that at the end of the day, people's privacies are respected. That is why sometimes you go to somebody's office and he's displaying the pictures of the wife and the children and all that, because the person doesn't want a problem. The woman is also displaying the husband's picture and everything. They don't want a problem, because at the end of the day, they don't want to get into trouble. And sometimes unconsciously, when people are trying to hit on each other in the office, the person is giving a hint that, oh, and my boyfriend, and you are closing your eyes that, oh, your boyfriend is his issue, me to have my issue. So sometimes people don't even pay attention. The person is drawing attention that, look, I'm not interested in this relationship. I'm already engaged in another relationship, but people don't listen, you know. So the point is that when it comes to matters of disclosure and all that, it's important, especially when two people are in a position that can significantly affect the cost of the business. I have heard situations where people have resigned from board of directorships, people have resigned from CEO positions because they are falling in love with somebody in the office. And look, there are instances where people are married, husband and wife, and they are running a business, you know. So we cannot frown on those issues. I know of people that met in the course of work and they are now happily married. You can talk of Obama and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. It was in the course of work that they met and eventually they married. Belinda Gates and Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, you know. So they are very famous examples of people that that may have met under the auspices of work and eventually translated that into the relationship. All right. So as for disclosures, it's important because then it avoids the scenarios of conflict of interest. Because if you declare that, you know, this person working with you is my wife, married, and we have certificates to prove, you know, then everybody in the office knows that, oh, okay, this is the situation. Because sometimes if you don't disclose, people may hurt you. You know, people may think that, oh, they don't have anything to do, so let me also try hit on this person. At the end of the day, it may bring a lot of rancor and bitterness in the business and in the office. So disclosures are important, but I think that should be contingent on privacy and respect of people's privacy. I think that's also very important.
Awesome. Mr. John Appiah, your final words.
So, one of the things that I need to say is that sometimes there should be formal lines of reporting some of these abuses in the system.
Okay.
So if you have a particular person who's like a sexual predator in the office and it is a person is worrying you and harassing you and terrorizing you, there should be a laid down structure for which you can report. Maybe you report to your direct boss. Maybe your direct boss is the one harassing you. So what do? You report to your director's boss's boss. You know, and on and on and on, to the point where if you realize that everybody in the organization are in the same cup of tea and they are supporting each other to perpetrate such, you know, amorous relationships, then maybe you may have to resign from the business to be able to have your peace of mind and to be able to preserve your integrity and your reputation. So organizations should create that ambience or that atmosphere that will allow people to be able to be open. All right. And sometimes I tell people that, look, sometimes you have to declare so that people will know, because there may be one person in the office, he's dating 4 people, and he said, oh, this is top secret, this is top secret. I've heard somebody say that if a man says he loves you, take a screenshot of it, go and post it on Facebook, and let everybody know that as soon as he says that the person is in love with me, then you know if indeed the person is
social media, that's one advantage of social media. You can't hide anything again.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, people are still trying to hide as much as they can, so they'll give you a firm warning. This one shouldn't go on Facebook, this one shouldn't go on Instagram and all that. I'm a private person. Such a lie, such a big lie. And people are falling for the lie.
That's right.
So sometimes I tell people that when you realize that, look, it's getting too contentious, let people know, so that at least if it's not something that's going to help you in your future, just forget about it and move on with your work.
Don't tell anybody.
Exactly. And finally, to business owners should try not to take advantage of people. Charlie, it can happen to anybody. That's why even in the church setting, in the mosque setting, and all that, we have religious leaders that are falling into scandals and all that. We're flesh and blood. Our hormones don't think. Our emotions
Some
don't think.
dwell on the vulnerabilities of the people and take advantage
They
of
take
them.
advantage of them, and then it may end up in something. So it's a very difficult, sensitive subject. People don't want to talk about. If you decide to talk about, people begin to tag you. People begin to even trap you that this person will entrap the person, will make sure the person will fall. It doesn't even make sense. But sometimes people have their own objectives and their agenda with which they are working or living their life. So we need to be conscious and careful, and then tread very cautiously on this matter.
Thank you, sir. We are so
You're
grateful.
welcome.
God bless you.
Welcome. All right.
That was Mr. John Appiah, President for African Chamber for Youth Development. What a topic. Office romance. I'm sure you've learned a lot, and we'll go for a break. And when we are back, it's time for sports. Stand up for the champions. The city is still blue. Recommends this year. So stick and stay right here.
I was built to be the best, number one and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, oh I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up. Here we go, it's getting close. Now it's just who wants it most. It's just life, that's how it is. Cause we have our strengths and weaknesses. Oh, I have vision.
Alright, so it's time for sports. Stand up for the champions. Eric Mets, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very fine. Yourself, the family.
You sure you are fine?
Very, very fantastic. Very, very fantastic.
You are in high spirit.
Very.
The celebration continues. The city is still blue.
Still positive.
Draw your microphone closer. I want to hear that.
I could see
right.
our producer in a Liverpool jersey. I don't know where he had it, but it's what it is.
We
are watching like
Liverpool is now a pool of shameful players.
And
the pool is overflowing.
You can
run,
you can run, but you can't hide. You can run from Chelsea to Liverpool. Still, you are still under
city.
You can go heaven and head. Still. Next week maybe you can wear United.
You have not even seen.
I spotted it long time.
So now they are moving from one team to another. If you have disunited as your team, you can imagine everything about you will be disunited.
Walking aimlessly up and down like that. Baba.
What's happening in the world of sports?
Well, good morning.
Good morning,
sir. Our viewers and listeners as well. It's been a fantastic week for the citizens, and it's been a fun pack. They are still in the news, still going up and down. But yesterday and today, some are leaving to the national team camps. They are going to play in their national team camp, and this is the itinerary for the English national team players who are part of the City team as well. Saturday they won the league. Manchester City will win the Champions League and compete the treble. Jack Grealish is in the news again. Grealish especially opened his beer, crashes interview, drink all night in Istanbul. Sunday keeps the party going until 5 a.m. and is still video in his City kits. 5 a.m. as in 5 a.m. Sunday morning. Leaves his teammate who couldn't keep up, visibly broken. Is reported to be part of the crew who flew to Ibiza for party. This is the interesting one. Monday touches down back in Manchester, looking worse than ever. still the show at the parade, drinking absolutely everything that he can come in contact with. Admit he hasn't slept for the past 2 days. Grilling in the same contest is set to link with the English national team yesterday.
That's right.
Went to the camp and the coach of the national team said,
God guy wabre wabre wabobo pa
on assessing on that 2 good days also assessing about
also
enough on rest
the guy is too good
wabre on rest na wabre wajini player solid player but wajini need to there was a pool yesterday that the Ballon d'Or contenders as it stands now, it's between Haaland and Lionel Messi.
That's right.
But as it stands now, they will still rate Messi's season over Haaland because Messi won the World Cup exactly, and Haaland won.
But some players won the World Cup, but they never got.
Even. That is where the conversation of partiality comes in and biasness comes in. But looking at, we have Joan Alvarez, who also won the World Cup with Messi from Argentina.
That's right.
Won the Premier League, the Champions League, and even the FA Cup.
That's right.
So won 4 trophies in a season.
Do they always want
But
to
still,
give everything to
they are
Messi?
saying Messi.
How can Messi win 8?
Exactly.
Crazy.
I don't know who's going to beat that record because it's going to be a tough one.
No.
And as it stands now, Messi stands a chance of 65% to win and Haaland 35%. So that should tell you how things are going with the World Cup. But still, the conversation that should it have been Ronaldo who won the World Cup and Messi won the treble, it will still have been for Messi.
Yeah.
And the partiality still continues.
It's amazing. I think the football fraternity is Messi. Messi is
everything
FIFA.
is Messi, Papa. Still interesting news from the Swedish.
I'll pay somebody to break his leg. When it's broken, that's all.
That's all. Papa, I think he's left with.
And he doesn't want to go to Italy.
Yesterday,
the Italian league.
Yesterday, he came into the news that he made a statement that he thinks he can make it to the next World Cup. This was his only World Cup and probably the next 2 years, 3 years, he might be hanging in good. Right. So we are hoping for that farewell.
He's done everything. It's enough.
Football, exactly, Papa. And Swedish national team, women's national team. Yesterday there were some allegations against the authorities that I think in 2011 or 2012 during their World Cup, they had to inspect their genitals, whether they want to be sure
whether they are.
And
LGBTQ.
They were so surprised how this thing came up to them, but they haven't.
So who will do the inspection?
It's a guys, the authorities, and they were surprised this thing hasn't come to the notice of the those in charge of the game. But till 2012 to date, they are now coming out to say it, and you know how. Oh, yesterday.
So some people have some genitals and they don't know, and they've been playing football. I'm sure Messi has too. I'm sure.
There was this incident as well, Papa, with the Iran national team. They even played the World Cup qualifiers filled with 8 men, but you know they wear the hijab. Is it hijab?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can't see them walk. Wow. And later they find out that they were 8 or 7 male players who were part. And they had to ban them. So they banned them for almost 10 years or so. I think Kylian Mbappe, your favorite player, was in the news yesterday. Yes, Mbappe released a press statement that whatever is circulating around the social media, it's a letter that he sent way back January to the PSD board that he might not renew his contract after the 2 years tenure is ended. But there's another school of it's not. So there's another school of thought that he's also pushing to go away. So he released a statement that the PSG authority are aware that he's only going to play after the 2 years. So it's either they let him go free or they ship him out this season. So that is the decision for them. And Carlo Ancelotti also in the news. Boss for Real Madrid is also in the news. Yes, he's suing Everton because he was in Everton and they had to sign him back to Real Madrid. And he's suing them for commercial rights that he has still for almost 4 seasons. Still hasn't received it, so he's sending Everton to court. And this is from Ancelotti. The ex-Everton manager is suing his former club in London's High Court. The Real Madrid boss lawyer filed a claim against Everton, who the Italian left 2 years ago on Friday, according to court laws via the Guardian. Although brief, the details state that claim to general commercial contract and arrangement. It comes at a time when the Toffees have struggled with financial issue. So Everton were having financial issue a bit, and they delayed his payment for commercial right and a lot. And the he's taking, these footballers and managers, they don't go to court themselves. They have their lawyers who handle everything for them. So they just chip in a word or two, then they take over the conversation for them. Yeah, so that is an interesting one.
He just want to make old man money.
That's the retirement money. Yeah. But the Saudi Arabians are also in the news.
I'm telling you,
they are really angry for
now they are my favorite. Because if you can invest money into football like that, I just like it.
They are doing a lot.
Ghana football.
They are doing a lot, Papa. They are hovering around.
When you look at the pack,
Papa, Ghana football is dead, and I'll come to that. I have a very exclusive news on something like that. Papa, El Ittihad is also in the news, hovering around Mahrez.
Wow.
They want to poach Mahrez away. And these Muslim players, sometimes when the offer comes, they want to access it because they want to go to countries of their religion. Exactly. So, but City is still to quote a price for Mahrez. So it's still not known. But
Mahrez still has done well.
Very, very, very fantastic
job.
So
proud of him as an African.
Yes. The Argentina national team is in the camp. They are preparing for their the national team assignment.
Portugal.
Yes, Portugal yesterday. Bernardo Silva travel all the way to Portugal to join the national team. A lot of the national City players are going to the national team, but they have to be assessed well because Oma bro, Oma chili too much. So the national team, Argentina national team, but they have this exclusive info. I said that the national team, the Argentina national team has signed several businesses deal after winning the World Cup. And these are some. The team has 7 new sponsors from China, including Wanda Sports, Yili, and Mitsubishi. Pan Food, and they've signed a lot of contracts after the World Cup. That's the first national team in the world that has major sponsorship like that. The Argentina Football Association now generates more than 80 million per year from sponsorship alone.
You see, yes. So if you take football,
exactly, you can make
yours as business. You make money. The economy of Ghana can turn around.
Exactly, Papa. The Argentina has created 43 commercial agreements, which is record for a national team. 43. Yeah, it hasn't happened anywhere. And since 2023,
not even Brazil.
No, not Brazil. The Argentina national team has earned 3 million and 4 million for each friendly matches they play. Now it's so attractive that if you want to play friendly matches with them, they will quote their price. If you can meet it, that's it. That is how people are. It came to a time when we went to the 2006 World Cup. Any country that wants to play Ghana, we demand some money. But we didn't know where it went.
2000.
After the World Cup, when we went to the World Cup in 2010, we had that.
Almost the same.
The brand really pushed that brand up. So if let's say any team out there want to play with a very good African side to maybe the World Cup or any team at all, they want to have that African vibe. So maybe their group stage, they have an African team. They want that strong African country to play with. They come for Ghana and we quote our prices. So you even book the flight tickets. Outside the money, you book a flight for all the officials, the managers, the players.
Amazing.
Yes, and you can take care of the stadium. They don't pay; they are just coming to play. But now we have to pay to play. This team we want to play is it Guatemala, Honduras.
Yeah.
We had to pay them to play them.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so it's funny. And Kylian Mbappe yesterday after the press, later in the evening, made an Instagram tweet that I didn't ask to leave PSG or to join Real Madrid. They want to make this clear. I haven't asked to leave PSG to join Real Madrid. I just told the club that I won't activate the option to extend the contract until June 2025. So they have the option to either ship him out or let him go free after his 2 years is done. So that is an interesting one. And Papa, Jordi Alba is also in the news, looking at going to reunion with Lionel Messi in Inter Miami. Still negotiation ongoing, but officially not confirmed yet. So still there are some interesting news that is coming from that angle. But there's this this football fact that I wanted to share with our listeners and viewers as well. Once in a while, once in a time, in a lifetime, Real Madrid actually won the Copa del Rey with their second team. Played against their team B.
Okay.
So this is how it works. Their team B, they have the Castellon, that's their team B. So they also play in the Copa del Rey. Copa del Rey is made up of like the FA Cup.
Okay.
The second division, first division will all come together to play. So their second division that the team B also did well. They also played and they qualified to the final and they made the first team.
Hey. What a coincidence.
Coincidence, Papa.
Wow.
It was fantastic one for them.
Can
and,
imagine the first team and the second team.
Yes.
And that will be an advantage to those who are also in the second team.
Not getting enough time.
Eyes will be on them, who can also
qualify exactly
or earn a call up to the first team.
The first team. Papa, so Etihad, that is the new team for Steven Gerrard, also in the news for Saudi Arabia. He wants to sign Coutinho, Sadio Mane, and Firmino.
Amazing.
Yes, he wants to submit a bid. Then since Coutinho,
Saudis,
they are serious. They mean business. They mean,
and they will make money because of Firmino
and the people they are already making
Sadio Mane. Those guys coming
sell,
just to watch them on
the JC alone.
Stadiums.
The JC alone they will make sales. The Premier League is in the news again after the end of the season. They've started preparing, and this is what they state. The Premier League clubs will be discussing today whether there is a new or there's a need for a major change to the game's spending rules. It will reduce the salary of players associated with clubs with limited television income. So they want to have a salary cap. So like we have in the MLS, the United States of America, they have a salary cap that no player can take more than 500 million pounds.
Okay.
So when no player will reach there, so that is what they want to decide, because how things are going.
But people are increasing the price too much.
they might fall off. So
started with the Messis and Ronaldos.
Yes, a lot, and these people are making the money.
Yeah.
So they want to bring that salary cap in the English Premier League. Brendan Rodgers, the former Leicester City boss, is in the news. Is talking with Celtic to see if he can return back to Celtic.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's some fantastic conversation coming. He wants to go back. He was the man who nearly won the Premier League with Liverpool.
That's right.
And had to move to Aston Villa. Didn't get enough time. Had to go to Leicester City, and now Leicester on relegation wants to move to Celtic in the Scottish League. But let's do some deadline transfer news, because the league is done, and as it stands now, the transfer news are going to make the headlines. Yes, United. Let's start with Manchester United. Officially, it's been confirmed that they have signed the Napoli Korean defender. That is Min Jin Kam. Yes. Korea. Yes, they want to just
now having good export when it comes to
football. When it comes to football, they are really doing so well.
Ghana.
Yes, they want to sign a new keeper, and they are hovering around the Brentford keeper. Yes, that is David Raya, who is the Brentford keeper. They want to sign a new keeper and ship out David here. He's been one of their downfall this particular season. Yes, after the Qatar took over the United bid. Officially, it's not out yet, but I think the documents are still ongoing. People are saying the Glazers wants to cover a lot of loopholes. That is the main reason why they don't want to release a lot of documents here. So they want to just fill in the loopholes before they release the club to the Qatarians. Yes, Papa. Antonio Martial might be going to Sevilla. Okay. The Qatarians want to give all the players that will be leaving money so they can go. And their captain, Fantastic, will be taking roughly like 10 million, close to 15 million for compensation. Wow. That is their captain, Fantastic. Was brutal.
That guy used to be a good defender.
Very, very solid chap when he was with Leicester.
But
it will shock you that he will leave United and go and perform
well.
Yes, somewhere else. It's football. You can't really predict. Yeah, we go to Chelsea. Chelsea's up now. The coach for Galatasaray also wants to sign a lot of Chelsea players. Still want to sign Pulisic. Also want to sign Pierre Aubameyang. Aubameyang, as it stands now, has a very interesting twist with the national team. He retired from the Gabon national team, but I think last 2 weeks he had to. The president of the Gabon, called him. Yeah, that come home, come and still play for the national team, because we need you for the African Cup of Nations. Yeah. So talking of the African Cup of Nations, Papa, Sunday Ghana will be taking on Madagascar, and Chris Hilton, the coach, yesterday in the press said that. Journalists were asking, what is your expectation? He said, no, these days, every country is really preparing. So he can't really predict that they are going to beat Madagascar. But he hopes the boys can do justice to the game. So Sunday, we'll bring you live feed from Kumasi.
Sure.
And as it stands now, yesterday was Thomas Partey's birthday in the camp, and they had a very nice birthday party for him in the national team camp. But there's one player who is missing from the national team. Gideon Mensah, the dependable right back, can't make it to the national team. He came from the he came from the senior, what's the name? Their club football with knee injury, but he wanted to actually go to the camp and
that's right,
show it to them that I think he's suffering from a very important injury. So that is some important one. But the transfer for the Ghana Premier League will be opening on 20th June. So I think barely left with some few weeks, few days for the Premier League transfer to be open. And we're bringing you exclusive players that are coming in and players that are leaving the country. Yeah, this is a good news for even my darling club. Yes, so we'll be looking at how things are going in a way to see if we can sell one or two players. Yes, these are the record for the Ghana Premier League. Red cards that teams achieved in the Ghana Premier League. Lagos City is leading the red card log. They almost 7 red cards in the just ended Premier League. Across the folk, your darling club, almost 6. Almost your daughters are they are carrying 4. The Olympics in your 1, Bichim United in your 1. Those are the disciplined clubs. After playing 32 matches, you had only 1 red card the whole season. Right. That is a disciplined record for them. So interestingly, this is how we will end today's sports news. But notwithstanding, there's an interesting fact about Maguire that I want to share and end with. Harry Maguire has been relegated 4 times in his football career. Twice in one season. And no media do it new. Twice in one season. In one season.
He moved from one
club. Yes. In the career, in 4 clubs on your macro relegation. So, and that is an interesting one. And this is just purposely for United fans, so they should take note of their captain's record. This is a remarkable achievement. So, good morning once again to Santa.
I started for the champions. That was Professor of Sports Eric Mens doing justice to all the news across the globe when it comes to sports. We are the best in sports. Don't forget that we are live and we are streaming on Facebook, on YouTube. Now visit all our social media handles. Get there, like the page, put your notification button on. I would like you to comment. So we're rocking live and we are live.
Come on the move, make way for me.
Alright, so stay right here. The best is yet to come. God is good all the time, and all the time the Lord is good. Stay right here. Mpɔtam morning show. I'm going for a quick break, and when I'm back, we'll do more.
Asampayetia Obayansa fusu wo bunibia wanka na asam Say mafutu sam kakre wa supeme Yo kofi oman ya woman Omani ya memana Genyi baby ako Wacha za ya warenyi Wonsom wanini pa Asa dipa wofyo ye Demo yembera ye Ebe ya ifiyena Omaya umano Omaya memana Adiwaye nora Nyamichada Nyamana renya Wonso wanyinyipa Sawaya wanabe Demo yembera ye Ebe ya ifiyena Wonso wanyinyipa Zazipa ofyo yo Kemo yembera ye Ebe ya ifiyena Ama be ya ifiyena Ama be yo Asite be ya ifiyena Oh Ama be
Ye Feminu Mianura, 40 minutes on top of the hour 8 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We stream it live on www.mortingghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. I want you to know that it's good to always share. So go ahead, hit the share button, share the broadcast on your page, on your timeline, send the link to your friends. We're rocking live, and we are live on all our social media handles. David Santos,
Attorney General.
David Santos.
Wow, Bonnie Pedding.
Hey. Any newspaper review. Yeah, share the also papers in him. Let's see what's happening.
All right.
Our various newspapers, news that are making headlines.
All right.
So go there and let's see.
Okay, so I'm taking the National Voice.
That's right.
On the front page of the National Voice, it says artificial intelligence to help create new jobs.
That's right.
Mahama may dump Jane Opoku-Agyemang for Sam Jonah as running mate for 2024 elections. Majority defense World Bank boss over negative effect of PPA agreement signed.
Power purchasing agreement.
Yes, under Mahama government. FDA caution.
I know once the table turns, the MPP will also be crying very soon.
Yeah.
Now the country director of World Bank has spoken in favor of the MPP, and they are using that as a political point.
Hey.
It's so cheap that when they speak like this, we take advantage and thrive on evil and make sure we win political point.
Yeah.
One day the table will turn. He will come back again and
get your 10.
say another 10, because this one he was speaking in response to what has been said over the years about Mahama's power purchasing agreement. Remember the former power minister, Dr. Donko, something Donko, also came out to refute those allegations. That is not true, because it's either you use or you pay. Whether you use or you don't use, you pay. Interesting, agreement. But I think they have a point that yes, that portion, that caveat there, whether you use or you don't use, you are going to pay. That's where the difficulty is. But for now, MPP is scoring the political point. Go ahead.
Okay, and then FDA cautions food vendors to operate with permits. And then AKUFO-ADDO jabs Mahama over Dumso at the commission of new Accra Central Bulk Supply Points.
Plant.
Yeah. So that is what is on the.
Interestingly, I saw a publication and somebody was of the view that one of Mahama's achievements is doing so.
Yeah, it's in the newspapers.
You believe that?
It came to stick.
But Mahama put everything in place and just left, and you came to meet it and you're enjoying it.
Attorney, I told you already that
he brought car power.
Okay.
He brought a Mary plant. He had to invest a lot in Ghana gas. That turbo gas.
Okay.
So things were in the pipeline until he was taken out of.
Attorney, how many people knows that it was Mahama 10 that things were being placed in order, and this person? No, nobody knows.
That's a deficiency on the part of their communication.
Yes.
Team.
So the person who finished it and people are,
because he had put things in place.
Yes.
With a view to add more power to our national grid.
Yeah.
Until he was booted out of power.
Yeah.
All right, so let me take today's newspaper. Is it today?
Yeah,
yes.
Today.
Today newspaper. He said, Galamsey probe OSP, Office of the Special Prosecutor, declares Charles Bisi wanted. I like this. This has made my day.
Your day.
But I want to follow this story till its logical conclusion.
Hey,
this man,
are you interested?
Charles Bisi.
Yeah.
You see, if government will spend that money to make sure that we get those illegal miners arrested, prosecuted, charged, and those who face the full rigors of the law. I'll be a very happy person. They are destroying our water bodies, our forests,
Yes,
our lands.
That is very bad.
What are we leaving for this generation and the generation
very
to come?
bad. Very bad.
So at the end of the day, if there had been an interministerial committee on illegal mining specifically to go fight it with this Operation Galam Stop, Operation Calm Life, Operation whatever,
204,
and you people were taking monies, it is alleged that you were taking money. People were coming to you. You were using your so-called boys, and the boys will take the money and bring it to you, which we know that a typical Ghanaian politician won't go with his face.
No.
He will go with the faces of those boys.
Yes, this
Take the money, give them a portion of it, and then you take the fat portion of it. So if he's declared wanted, you remember last week he went to court through his lawyer declaring that he is going to stop or injunct the decision of the special prosecutor from investigating him again. That again, because it was done. Then he is now of the view that his client, the lawyer says his client is not coming to court to the OSP today or tomorrow. Now you are crying foul. Now let's see what happens.
Yes.
Especially with this story. OSP declares Charles BC wanted. I have confidence in new Chief Justice, PPP's communication director. Charles BC, I nearly said Hannah BC, sorry about that. Hannah BC is now the national women organizer for the NDC. Another tough lady. Yeah.
Oh, now they've made him national.
Yeah, she is. Not they've made him. She has been elected. She's an elected national women organizer of the NDC.
Wow.
All right. He said, wanted by the police, and I can see the picture of Charles BCU. It said Charles Cromwell, Nana Benyi, Onuya Wunto, BCU, wanted by the OSP. Interested. OSP,
Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Ghana's debt restructuring will take long time. Fitch predicts. Go ahead with the Metro Lens.
Okay, on the front page of the Metro Lens, say Probes Botiano.
Probe
Botiano. Killing. And then Botiano immigration.
Remember, a lot of them were shot dead.
Yes.
They were not injured, they were shot dead.
Attorney,
I'm told 5 to 9, but now it's been confirmed that 5 are dead.
Yes, 5.
Botiano English, among from MP demands.
And so, and then we also have.
Well, our intelligence proved that they were actually monitoring them.
Yes.
They are hardened criminals, and the police were monitoring.
Highly ones.
That's right.
They are not just.
And they were in their hideout.
Yes. So these people, if you don't take
care, we were told that there was a shootout. It means they tried to exchange bullets with the police. And once you get to that point, anything can happen. They can't promise you your life once you get to that point of a shootout.
Okay, then moving Ghana beyond IMF dependency, my great transformation plan, that is Alan and Ekasawan, and then Patrick Yao Boama distribute 20,000 reading books to schools in Okankwe constituency. I will avail myself.
Better. Power is talking. Have you seen the masters of Kisieja?
Like me now.
My power is talking.
Power
day. OSP Michiawa no pay.
This one is not force.
If you come there, who arrest you like an armed robber.
Hey!
I love the days when people were being arrested. President Kufuor's days. You'll be on your way somewhere, and then they will stop you on the way and get you arrested.
Simple.
Yes.
Power is
That's why some people were jailed in the erstwhile Rawlings regime. Don't go there. that's causing financial loss to the state. It was very common. A known cliche in every household. Causing financial willfully. That we need that willfully, in other words, consciously causing financial loss to the state. That's how come we had a fast track court. Sharp. President Akufo is a very diplomatic person, but when he wants to be on your case, don't go there. That's why we call him gentle giant. The days when
I'm getting that meaning from you today.
The days when this man Chachu Chikate's case, when they declared that Chachu's had been released, Kufo came. He flew down at night, came down and packed the fast track court again. He said this case must be revisited. That's how come Chachu lost the case 5-4.
Gentle
giant. Yeah, very gentle, but he's a giant.
Edible.
Yeah. So President Akufo at the time knew what he wanted. He was proving a point. Professor Mills should have done same. To the NPP. But I'm me pass me. I'm me
sir. And the attorney, and power they talk.
I'm telling you.
It's not about muscles.
He said, I will avail myself. BCU surrenders after OSP declared him wanted.
Ubeko. Now, Ubeko pa.
That's right.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Then we also have Lydia Seriam Al-Hassan rules out free driving training for University of Ghana students.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this one MP, I'm told that she's very caring.
Honorable
that's the MP
Lydia.
For Honorable Kofi Amponsen's constituency.
I was so
West will go. We'll never forget. It was during the election of this woman when blood was shed.
It's not easy.
Where Sam George was slapped.
Yeah. Wham! From your back.
Sam George, Honorable Mechiawa no pay. Hey, almost why I remember them too much. Nanzeya ni huyo moto abai. One tete one where ya branti be or ne edisi ni. Hey, easy. No, I share military. You be no kono.
Oh, pastor, on to me, Jansu.
Obayaro ya boss umi. Hey, so try na no idea. So try.
Frinechi
Pono, no asam pono. Assembly kosi se. Government in power. Answer.
Asuma be say embe bro ada odi government beko court.
Let me take the new publisher. BCU, he's actually trending. BCU declared wanted. I have one to man can say I will avail myself. Also ma.
Was it on ma?
To me a work Ghana the one. And I am a politician.
But say attend and you know say on ma say any lawyer na kosi ham
lawyer. I don't know one of the lawyers I mean in casa off air that day catch him said your lawyers will sometimes your lawyers will put you in trouble. Don't go. I said don't go. The law lies in the bosom of the judge of the court. The law it's not your lawyer. Your lawyer is just there to defend
you
and make sure your right is not infringed upon.
Okay,
that's it. But the decision lies, the owner's decision lies in the bosom of the judge. Period. Case closed.
Wait, one crowd. Then we are all kasa. Say no.
Mahama Dum, or say Mahama Dum, Nanado.
So
Mahama Dum, Mahama Dum, Nanado so. AKUFO-ADDO jabs Mahama.
Yeah. Papa, osa di babium.
No.
Osa di babium.
No. Hey, every price in this country, every price of a commodity in this country had been increased.
Yes.
Apart from the height of His Excellency,
the President
Nana Addo Dankwa AKUFO-ADDO. In fact, when he was being inaugurated, before his inauguration as the president of the land, people were, even journalists, were of the view that how are we going to address him since he's Nana becoming president? So are we going to say President AKUFO-ADDO or President Nana Addo?
Yes.
No.
What did you know?
Nana President.
His Excellency Nana Addo.
Nana President.
Yeah.
I have never been corrupt, and I will not be corrupt, and I won't be corrupt.
Try me and see.
Try me, Somishe.
Somishe.
Nana ya so ashediye.
And ya kanye mo.
5 minutes to 9 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're streaming live on www.modernghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Stick and stay right here. We're giving you the best. Here we inform, we don't deform. Here we educate. We don't believe in ignorance. We don't want you to be ignoramus. We want you to know what is happening across the globe. We will always give you the best. So back to business. Mahama Dum Nana So.
Yeah.
This powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I'm sure MPP will be using this to campaign.
They've started.
I'm not dropping on no. Dropping mic and not dropping mic.
What dropping back on?
We almost be someone no.
Almost some Anadia
also Mahama Dum.
See,
AKUFO-ADDO so
all the newspapers. It is having all the newspapers. You go to the newspapers and see.
Wow. Appeals court judge demands state institutions to fight cybercrime.
Yeah.
Commentary. Anti-LGBT bill must spare the media from custodial sentence. Oda mofa muhonjichim. Uye media ni uye wanyo. Sa sebe trumu obema ni obema do bani obadan. Nesa musem hunu no. Mode montra na monhwe. Baby edi jane be hye no eye baby a mode hye na. Ye di japa ye be hye baby a.
Okay.
Mode hye na kwa na ye di jane be hye.
Eja no.
Ehwo na ye di jane be hye.
Thank you.
Obeti mu piga. Ye nto aso.
Okay, the daily analyst. Or see, I prefer to die than to see LGBTQ legalized. Speaker of Parliament.
That's right.
Bagbin. And our Kasa.
I love this man.
Yes.
I love it. She. Oh no, Bibi there was your own koye. Oh no, wo bako sa wo bako. Wo bako. What you say?
Uzi.
Wawari baby.
Oh okay. Hey, honorable.
Onim die de.
So honorable die
so. Say honorable nim die de.
Ti o pakisa.
Na wo nya yi anka wo koye we.
Adeni, we are not going back to Mahama's Dumso. AKUFO-ADDO turns ex-president as he commissioned new power supply points. Tension in Mahandia.
I say AKUFO-ADDO. I saw Abojuma. I saw Abojuma. The economy ni
so
because commission, for the past 2 weeks, means
commission
80 something million a year. Fishing haboya wayama. Elmina for more he soon and Nanzo Chrebi. Hey,
yeah.
Nana sooner at Denya say a yen and Nijay say ja. Fishy haboya ba Elmina. The insurance we say so about tranship put him no course. No. A soon son, a Susa Cola. What's in any Nijay and said die soon.
Yabenya video.
Bewo hot, that's a bebo.
What's it that you ever? Okay, and also I also have Charles Bisu declares wanted by special prosecutor. Yes. And then I want Parliament to probe police anti-land guard operation at Botiano. So these are the top stories on the front page of the Daily Analyst.
Daily Analyst.
Yes.
So let me take the informer.
Okay.
Missing Haruna, 50,000 Ghana cedis causes uproar. NDC minority in disarray. Hey, Haruna, no. My one and only Haruna Idrisu.
But for now, for some days or weeks, yes, I don't know.
No, that's he controls. He has the control. If I want to come to the northern caucus, don't go there.
Okay.
He controls from Tamale to the the last community in the north.
Wow.
Yes, he decides. In fact, Suhinyini was not contested because of Haruna. Haruna said, don't relax. Let Suhinyini go again.
Wow.
And then Mutala Muhammad also said, relax, let Mutala go again. Okay? That's it.
Wow.
That's a power of a leader. A leader must have influence and affluence. Very, very important.
That's great.
Backbone warns gay groups. He said, you have no room to operate in Ghana. Everybody bought papa who by my everybody bought papa who by my everybody bought backbone who by my backbone everybody more who by what?
Yes.
We still have men who will speak like this.
Yeah.
Roman Nima Power or decommunion or a communicant on passing beer.
No.
Or a Roman Nima Pa is a Christian.
Backbone
is a Christian. Forget about the Northern name. Now there will be Okura Northern name beyond a Muslim. Your choice.
I tell you, the reason why me because
is a Catholic. Proud Catholic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wasn't aware of that.
Addressing perennial floods, massive government support for assemblies. Dan Boche, my good friend. I love this man. Fine politician, very quiet. NCC urges respect for national symbols. Yate. They say the coat of arms no be able to make or draw the bonnet.
Yeah.
Yate.
The custodian. We won't return to Dumso AKUFO-ADDO. Me see all the papers are talking about the Dumso.
Mahama Duma na AKUFO-ADDO.
Abeso. Also, Stanbic Bank support STEM education with 50 laptops. In team who's voters for asking not MPP candidates.
See the strategy, the mechanism of the MPP.
Yeah.
They release the young men there first, the Nanabis, the regional youth organizers, the constituency there. Now they are releasing the top notch.
Yes.
Gradually.
Go and back
so
them.
by 25th, 24th.
Oh.
Hell has already broken.
Okay, and then we also have the only best comes from the West, Ken Bediakon. OSP hunt for Charles Bisiu.
Charles Nye.
Oh, baby.
Good to me now, Yere.
Oh.
Now, sorry, crying, sorry. Good to me now, Yere.
Oh.
Yes, see. No, let's be honest.
The
police if say bra police station. Do you know the meaning of it? It's invitation. But the moment they come for you and put you what they call counter back. Men are not counter back.
Yeah, counter back.
Counter back. Just the counter.
The counter.
Once you go, it's interesting about law. The moment you move, if this is the supposed place,
okay, and you are
that
here,
determines whether you are under arrest. Once you move from where you are, right where you are seated, to my position, it means the law is now on your case. So once you come here, if Madam Gifty here want to speak with you, she cannot, unless the law she goes through the legal process before she comes here.
Wow,
that's the power of the law. Don't joke with the law. The new crusading guide, wanted with an exclamation sign for corruption related offenses. I like this particular paper. He's indicating briefly why Charles Bisiu is wanted.
Yes, wanted.
Some papers wrote it, and those who have not been following the story will be wondering, why is this man? But this one said wanted with an exclamation sign for corruption related offenses. Special prosecutor declares Charles Bisiu. Big endorsement for Afi Yakoto, my man. And you know his nickname. Akomadan Tomatoes. You have the foreigner said like Nana Adudan Kwekufa. Interestingly, they all put on spectacles. Interestingly, they were childhood friends.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Afi Yakoto. the former Agric minister.
Yes.
Akumadan tomatoes. Akumadan tomatoes. Tomatoes. Typical Ghanaian. So, His Excellency John Mahama, this one too is for you.
Yeah.
You said fellow Ghanaians. Fellow Ghanaians is AKUFO-ADDO's own.
Yeah.
With a foreign asset. And yours, because you were raised here and schooled in Ghana, you say it this way. Fellow Ghanaians. And AKUFO-ADDO, British trained, speaks fellow Ghanaians. Now, Akumadan is also a UK British trained. He said Akumadan tomatoes. So John Dramani Mahama will say tomatoes. Akumadan tomatoes. Honorable Efiye Akoto will say Akumadan tomatoes.
Hey, dear.
Honorable Efiye Akoto. All right, Majority Defense World Bank. That's right. That's another story that is making headlines over negative effect of power purchasing agreement signed under Mahama government. Mahama Zube Bray. No turning back to Dumso AKUFO-ADDO. Let's take the Chronicle.
The Chronicle. Dumso is Mahama's record.
Dumso is Mahama's record.
Yes. I'm not interested in taking it from him. AKUFO-ADDO.
Crazy.
Or how do you? Na so the taliwus wa ebe fa sisi a o. Yeah.
Or the Tarewa.
Ebe fa
incompetent Mahama.
Afa sa.
Incompetent Mahama.
Me say or the taliwa.
Incompetent Mahama.
Eti u dili wo, u ni dili a. You have to make sure say
be careful.
Nya eyi mota bia
taliwa. But maybe former president so Jabe ne kama. Or see. AKUFO-ADDO say me menye kwan. Onam keep kosi ni yi wona no wada. But see enyini ntiyada because of old age. That's
what ekwani nyaga wetu yada.
Onu say kim no ma body say nana
yadu. Hey,
entina wa hu say ono Mahama so aye kwa. She. Baloney. She.
But their money power.
Mahama so otissimo. This is baloney. Otissimo jai. Yes so cra flax and so dey easy. Flax dey no mu so. Insuo wo. David Santos.
Attorney.
To assure.
Okay, I have a picture of Alan Cash. And Okaza said, I will partner private sector to fund infrastructure. And so that is by Alan Cash. And our whole central polling station, SIS endorse Afi Akutu. Akutu no de ufia one mamusi 100 people per and more. So yeah, the Papa we pa lies and propaganda won't have any.
Akumadan tomatoes.
I'm talking about terrorism.
Okay, tomatoes.
Executive any police agent omo endorsing na 100 people and I did deal with Ghana. Yeah.
It is well.
Attorney, lies and propaganda won't help NDC. And I want them. So these are the stories on the front page of
all
the
right,
Chronicle.
so let me take the Daily Dispatch. Dumso is for Mahama. I, VIP, and Energy Minister will keep the lights on. President AKUFO-ADDO. I will enhance judicial efficiency through technology. New Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokono. Ghana will cement its position as top gold producer in Africa. Abu Jinapo.
Yeah,
Abu.
They just all patch BBO on patch yourself. Good in the after on Barber Society a check.
Tigalam say in Super Kosu.
And I make no.
Yati. Contempt conviction against Defense Minister in CDS set aside. Okay, so take the Ghanaian Times.
Okay, on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, it say ECG backs up Accra Power surprise as president inaugurates $40 million 161 kV electricity BSP And then we also have Parliament to probe Botiano killings. And then health alert. Chemicals in plastic causes of male reproductive disorder.
Hey,
Yeah.
and you see a woo. And I remember be bring to me and yem. Omudi is omonyem.
And na
As omudi but omun to be nyakesi.
Oh, ateni, change you.
Me say, omudi is omun to be nyakesi.
Change.
Omudi but omongo.
Debi. Oh, ya.
Omudi omongo. Assembly is simple.
Oh, can be and I'm say ya dress it.
Chemicals in plastic.
Yes.
Cause of male reproductive disorders.
And I can say, the old chat toward the ankaye. But oh, can be and I'm say ya. Oh, say, omu yes, answer omu nye kesi.
Omu didia, omu nye kesi.
And I can say,
phone said the oma phone.
And I can say, and no dear, wrong.
Are they?
Because usi ye didn't so ye nye kesia say
ade boy gutia
mika special prosecutor so onu so onye all that
say 2 million ye adwuma
na mika no ye bi mu de uye den ya
ne ne omunimu ane ne ebema osisi mu aye de nye enu na omo say chemicals ni bi wo ho a emwa mama ntumi nyimo ma hwe na nanom hwe de no nam ho strong akokora tie bi nso ne ma 10 solid
atene
ye na nanom mutumi gina ho ana akola na ba
atene those time
and a young girl 25 years ono any time onwono if you don't know I'm telling you some of them had already booked ahead for cesarean session. Are you aware? Are you aware? You see
they be say
I'm telling you the truth. Record yes 25 years old to me chim. Na time ben up. Na nim say nkwala ne so na omo chim easy.
25 years.
Nkwala no yes. And we book here towards a doctor and twitwa no onyi akwala.
Oh, and your way the normal.
Oh, see that this is something that is no news.
25 years the
women see it fashionable. It is only my village people who will say that Oba se wan ko chimankasa onye oba. Are you aware?
For that I'm aware.
What?
Yes.
Yes, you twa oba na yi na wo onye oba because you've not been through the real or the original process. Are you aware? And so now some women already book their cesarean session ahead instead of them to push naturally. No, they will rather go for it. So it's there. Go ahead. Are you done with it?
Yeah. So these are the.
All right. So Mamimfa Okunini.
Yes.
Okunini.
The defender.
The authoritative newspaper. Newspaper the no one graph.
No. Entina debia no ye kan ya. Obi ani wo beba biom. De beba bia nya graph.
Commuters and motorists call for help. 10 million Ghana card holders without TIN. Let's consolidate constitutional democracy. Speaker Charles BCU dodges OSP invitation. All right, Obrabi ye feminu mienwara. So we are done with the newspaper review. Keep sharing, share the broadcast on your page, on your timeline. Send the link to your friends. Alright, so OSP declares Charles BCU wanted, secretary to the defunct Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, IMCIM. Charles BCU has been declared wanted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The declaration was made due to Mr. BCU's failure to appear and answer questions regarding the ongoing investigation into suspected corruption within the dissolved IMCIM. Mr. BCU recently filed a writ at the High Court in Accra in an attempt to prevent the Office of the Special Prosecutor from prosecuting him. This legal action was in response to the ongoing investigation into alleged corruption involving Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, the chairman of the IMCIM. Sources say BCU was supposed to appear in court yesterday, but conspicuously absent. In the writ, Mr. BCU disclosed that he had received a letter from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which considered him a necessary person for the investigation and requested his presence for an interview. However, he failed to honor that invitation. Furthermore, despite several adjournments in the legal proceedings, Mr. BCU has not taken any action on the injunction application filed by him. According to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Mr. BCU's failure to honor the invitation is a significant hindrance to the investigation and has led to his declaration as wanted. Now, this is the response or the rebuttal from Charles BCU. I'm not hiding. It's unfortunate. I'm being treated as a fugitive. I will avail myself to Special Prosecutor Charles BCU. The former secretary of the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles BCU, has clarified that he is not in hiding and remains within the jurisdiction of the country. He has expressed his intention to visit the Office of the Special Prosecutor to provide the necessary information requested of him. The Office of the Special Prosecutor had declared Charles BCU wanted after he failed to respond to an invitation to appear and answer questions regarding an ongoing investigation into suspected corruption within the dissolved IMCIM. During an interview on Eyewitness News with Umaru Sanda Amadou, Mr. BCU expressed his disappointment within the situation, stating that he is currently in the Western region and on his way to Accra. I foresee that this time he will go to the OSP. It is rather unfortunate. It has gotten to this. I'm with the jurisdiction. I'm within the jurisdiction. I'm in the country and in the Western region as we speak. I'm making my way to Accra. The special prosecutor and I were in court a couple of weeks ago, and he wrote that he wanted to meet me on another matter. I told them I had an emergency at home, but he declined it and asked me to attend on a certain date, which I couldn't. Further to that, all we had was an arrest warrant. Mr. BCU emphasized that he respects the law and has provided relevant information to the Bureau of National Investigations, BNI, Criminal Investigations Department, CID, and National Security. He assured that he has no intention of evading the authorities and questioned why he has been declared wanted when he has not committed any crime. I'm not above the law. I have always abided by the law already. I have been to BNI not as a suspect to provide information. I've been to the CID office and sometimes I go in there to do some documentation for them. I've been with the National Security and I don't think I will run away. I'm not a fugitive for my photos to be advertised out there. I'll go to the Special Prosecutor office and provide information required of me. I know I'm innocent. I haven't committed any crime. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't sold any excavators. Kuranchie files suit to stop Mahama from contesting 2024 polls. The editor-in-chief of the Daily Searchlight, Kenneth Kwabena Ejeyi Kuranchie, has filed processes at the Supreme Court challenging the eligibility of former President John Dramani Mahama to seek re-election in the 2024 polls. Amongst the reliefs, Mr. Kuranchie is seeking a declaration that upon through and proper interpretation of Article 66, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution clearly stipulates the number of years of a presidential term to be 4 years. A declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 66, Clause 1 and 2 of the 1992 Constitution a person seeking a second presidential term must be a sitting president. A declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Article 62 of the 1992 Constitution, a former president of Ghana is not qualified to seek election as president of Ghana. Joined to the suit are former President John Agyekum Kufuor and the Speaker of Parliament, Aban Gbagbe. Mr. Kuranchie wants the court to order the Speaker of Parliament to invoke and operationalize Article 68, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution. He also wants the court to prevent Mr. Mahama from pursuing his presidential ambitions. He further praised the court to direct Mr. Mahama to fully disclose to Parliament the term of his engagement as a flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. So I have the letter here in the Supreme Court of Judicature, the Supreme Court of Ghana, AD 2023, ready to invoke original jurisdiction pursuant to Article 2, Clause 1 and Article 130, Clause 1A, subsection 1A of the 1992 Constitution and Rule 45, Clause 1 and Clause 2 of the Supreme Court Rules 1996 CI, Constitutional Instrument 16. So Kenneth Kwabena J. Kuranchie, suit number, plaintiff, house number is there. The attorney, the defendant, the Attorney General, former President John Agyekum Kufuor, former President Dramani Mahama, and the Speaker of Parliament. Signed, Kenneth J. Kuranchie. All right, on my 23 minutes on top of the hour, 9 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We're streaming live on www.mountainghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. Stick and stay right here. The best is yet to come. I'm going for a quick break, and when I'm back, we'll do justice to this topic. The banker is ready to speak to us on digital banking. Stick and stay right here. Mpɔtam Morning Show with PAPALAW Perfect.
Sampayetia Obayansa Fusu Obunia Wankana Sam Sema to Sam Kakre was Supeme Yo Kofi Omaya woman Omania Mamana Geni baby Ako Wachaza Zaya Wareni Wonsom Waninipa Azadipa Wofioye Gamo Emberaye, Abeya, Omaya Umano, Omaya Mamana, Adiwaya Nora, Yamita, Yamana Renya, Wanso, Waninipa, Sawaya, Wanabe, Gamo Emberaye, Abeya,
All right, on my be here, Fibenu Mienwara, 25 minutes on top of the hour. 9 a.m. GMT in the studios of PAPALAW Radio. We streaming live on www.modernghana.com, onlineradiobox.com. On PAPALAW Radio, we educate, we inform, and we entertain. It's time to be educated on digital banking. What do you know about digital banking? I have on the line to speak to this subject. He's the CEO of Opportunity International and the board chairman of Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And how about you?
The Lord is faithful.
Great.
Welcome to PAPALAW Radio and Mpɔtam Morning Show.
Thank you, and a good morning to all the listeners.
That's right. How's the family?
Family is doing great, by God's grace.
We thank God. Before we set the ball rolling, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Kwame Owusu. He's the CEO of Opportunity International. He's a banker and a financial expert. And he's also the board chairman of Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies. Honorable, your general overview in Ghana when it comes to banking before we set the ball rolling.
I'll say thank you for the question. I'll say that if you look at the past 10 years, lots of changes within the banking industry. I've been in the industry for almost 20 years now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you can see that over the past 10 years, lots of changes. Especially in the area of governance, risk management, and etc. But you've seen that the institutions are getting better with the regulatory protocols being introduced by the regulators. But you also see that the trend in banking is also changing. When we started banking 20, 30 years ago and to now, the trend has changed significantly in terms of how customers relate with banks and banks relate with their customers.
With the introduction, all right. So with the introduction of Momo and all the likes, has it affected your output and your input as well?
I think that the introduction of Momo and technology has rather enhanced banking.
Okay.
When we need to use manual ledgers and books to do banking, you spend more time in a banking hall. Because when you go, an accountant is on break, then you have to wait for the accountant to be back before you can access your services. But now with technology, it's much more improved, and that's the beauty of technology in banking, impact of technology.
So from analog to digital. So let's move straight to the topic. What is digital banking?
To take it literally for the layman, I'll say digital banking is the introduction of technology or technological processes into banking, into conventional banking.
That's right.
Banking has been done in a certain way in the past, as you mentioned, analog, manual processes here and there. But digital banking is an end-to-end system of using technology to improve on the processes that enable banks to engage customers or customers to engage banks. So moving from a mundane process, a manual process, to more of technological and digital processes.
That's right. That's right.
So you take something like account opening.
Okay.
Previously, some banks or most banks, you would have to go physically to the banking hall, present a photograph, present documents, and etc. Now you can open an account. You can open an account using your phone. So account opening, we can say, has been digitalized in such a situation.
Great. So how important is digital banking in our banking sector today?
Digital banking is very, very important, I would say, because it enhances the customer-bank relationship. It improves accessibility. For instance, if a bank doesn't have a branch in a location where a customer is located anywhere in this country, you can still access banking services using technology. That was not going to be possible in the era of the past, where you would have to travel 100 kilometers plus to be able to access a banking infrastructure or a bank.
That's right.
Now, once there's mobile phone technology, or connectivity in a location, banking services can be accessed.
Okay.
And that's what makes digital banking very important, especially in terms of financial inclusion. Because if you look at the Ghanaian population, roughly about 45% is included in informal financial services. But meanwhile, mobile phone penetration is far in excess of bank accounts. And therefore, the measure between banks and technology is important to create an ecosystem of high-level financial inclusion.
So, how has the rise of digital banking transformed the way customers interact with their banks, especially Opportunity International?
I'd say that one, we have 38 branches across the country. In 10, Opportunity International Savings and Loans has 38 branches across the country in 10 of the 16 regions of the country.
Wow.
Meanwhile, we're growing close to 4,000 depositors every month. And it's because of the impact of digital banking. Because in locations or in areas where we don't have physical branches, customers are able to reach us through mobile money services and platforms that are connected to core banking systems. So, one, it improves efficiency. You don't need to spend so much money building physical branches, which is very expensive. And no bank can have branch in every district, every nook and crook of this country.
With even the additions of the 16 extra regions to the 10 we had earlier.
Exactly. So the mobile technology and digital banking helps to get closer to the customers. So accessibility is improved. It has improved our access to customers. Customers don't need to come to our banking halls to check their balance. Something as basic as checking your balance. Why should the customer pick a car at the risk of traveling in public transport just to come and check the balance in the bank? It's a thing of the past. Once you are connected to our mobile cell phone solution, which is hashtag *717#, you can easily check your balance. You can know your last 5 transactions. You can make payments for utilities and services like STV and etc. You can move money from your account in Opportunity International to any bank in Ghana without going to the banking hall. You can move money from your account to wallet and from your wallet to your account, so that even if there's a merchant close by, you can just walk to the merchant, move the money from your account to your wallet and cash it out without picking a car. So increased accessibility, convenience, reliability. These are critical ingredients that digital banking brings to both the customer and the bank.
So what are the main benefits that causes that customers can expect from digital banking platforms compared to traditional banking methods?
The benefits largely come in lower cost of transactions.
Okay.
If you have to pick a car from Tema to Accra to bank, or from Ashaman to main Tema,
that's right,
or from Committee 25 or Ejekojo to Ashaman to check a banking transaction,
and just return back
and return. That may cost you 20 cedis in and out. If you use Uber, it may go to 50 cedis.
That's right.
But we don't even think of the risk in that commuting. Anything can happen. Anything can happen on that stretch.
That's right.
But with digital banking, the customer is spared that agony of traveling on maybe a bad road, the risk of traveling, the cost of travel, the time that is used to commute between that location and the bank. All these are spared by the customer or become benefit for the customer. So the transaction becomes cheaper, less cumbersome, increasingly accessible for the customer. For the bank, you also will realize that over time, as you introduce more technology, you cut down on your overhead costs. For instance, when we started, almost all our branches will have 5 teller cubicles. Now you go to most of our banking halls, either 1 or 2. Why? Because the traffic has moved to the customer in terms of the customer being able to access us on various transactions using technology. So you cut down on staff costs. You cut down on some operational costs, which also impacts on the bank's balance sheet and profitability. If a bank becomes more profitable, it does more good for the community and more good for the customer.
That's right.
So the whole ecosystem gets better.
That's beautiful. So, with the rise of digital banking, what challenges do traditional banks face in adapting to this new landscape?
I wouldn't say challenges, but with every evolution, there's a need for movement.
That's right.
The movement of the key actors in the same direction.
And remember, some people are not susceptible to change. There are people
Exactly.
who are comfortable. That's right.
Change is always difficult, my
That's
brother.
right. That's right.
And if listeners will agree. Even when you look at your own room where you sleep, the particular position you sleep on your bed, if you are forced to change that particular location to the next location on the same bed, it becomes difficult for people to do that.
That's right.
So if we are used to a certain way of banking, especially from the bank's perspective, changing and adapting technology sometimes becomes inhibitive. Banks now have departments that are managing such change processes. In Opportunity International Savings and Loans, for example, we have a change management department. And they make sure that such changes are well organized and embedded in our processes. The staff are carried along for them to understand, and we look at also the customer side. How do we put the customers on board to accept this change? And part of the process is education. When we started introducing digital financial services, we had to take the clients on a journey, doing financial literacy videos, cartoons, so that they can be able to relate with what we are telling them on how to use the platforms. And if you don't communicate in the language that the clients understand and you use English throughout, then you're going to have masses not being part of this innovation. You also have to look at the staff side, what kind of engagement, training, capacity building programs that you build for the staff to be able to manage the technology you are bringing in. It's not enough to bring in technology, but the staff don't appreciate the technology and use it to the advantage of the bank and also for the customer. So internal engagement and internal training and capacity building program for bank staff is also very critical in pushing this change agenda.
All right. So, how does digital banking contribute to financial inclusion, particularly for individuals who have limited access to physical bank branches?
As I said earlier on, I think the data abounds in the industry. It's estimated that with our 32 million population, we have over 50 million SIM cards.
Wow.
So averagely, everybody has, on the average, more than 2 SIM cards in this country. So if mobile
the data
penetration
keep growing, almost
keeps growing, and it's also estimated that the SIM cards are more than bank accounts in the country.
You.
So with a level of financial inclusion, which I think is estimated at around 60%, we have about 40% of the population to bring into the formal financial services. And digital banking is a key tool to this, because if all these these SIM cards or mobile wallets or mobile cards are available and are in active usage, then they being connected to mobile money services, which may also connect them to a bank, will become more easier. And that is the beauty of technology. So I believe that digital financial services is a very, very powerful tool for penetration of financial services in areas where banks are not able to reach. And once that merger between fintechs and technology companies and banks becomes stronger, that level of penetration will improve, and financial inclusion will be really enhanced.
An all-important question, which has been a topic of discussion in almost every sphere of our lives when it comes to the banking sector, especially on the digital platforms. What security measures are in place to protect customer data and transactions in the realm of digital banking?
Thank you. So for our listeners to appreciate this, let's go back and know that for clients who just have normal mobile money wallets, everybody has a secret PIN code, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So from the telco's perspective, there are built-in mechanisms to protect the customer. In the same way, from the bank perspective, remember that the what we call KYC, know your customer regulations, This is set by the central bank as to what basic information you have to take on a customer before you bring a customer into the formal banking services.
Okay.
And now, as we all know, everybody needs to have a national ID.
That's right, the Ghana card.
And your national ID is now linked to your mobile SIM card.
That's
Without your national ID, with the re-registration of mobile SIMs, you cannot have a mobile account. And the national ID has a lot of data for security purposes. Your location,
including
your address,
your bio,
your bios, and all. So already the ecosystem has been built by the government and other stakeholders to make sure that there's sanctity in the system. Of course, there are some bad individuals, but largely on the side of banks, what we do is that right from inception, you know that this customer you are onboarding, this is the telephone number, and this is the name, this is the photo, this is the ID. The moment somebody else misrepresents that account with a different data, then that's suspicion. And there are systems and reports internally that help banks to identify if there are changes on customer accounts. So that if there are bad bankers, for instance, they can be unearthed, they can be found out and dealt with. In the same way, there are bad customers. Some customers still use wrong profiles on particular SIM cards to defraud members of the public. So it's important that one, as banks put in these mechanisms of risk management, knowing your customer, ensuring that data integrity and quality of the data does not affect the customer negatively. It's also important that the clients also protect themselves by not giving off their personal data, their PINs, and etc. to third parties. That I've seen many customers go to bank ATMs and they ask the security man to help them to withdraw cash.
That's right.
And sometimes the security man gets to know of the PIN code. So these are practices that we ought not to continue because you, the customer, becomes vulnerable to such security men and etc. So we all have to be on the lookout, both the customers and also the banks. I know in some financial institutions, staff can collude to perpetrate fraud. But if the customer is alert and is monitoring his or her transactions digitally as well, every transaction on your account, you have an alert.
That's right.
So if you didn't originate that transaction, you should be able to go to your bank manager and say, somebody has debited my account of 500 cedis and I didn't originate this transaction. Same day, the bank can investigate and get a culprit. So we all have to be each other's keeper, and the ecosystem will get better.
Interesting, a good response. But I'm still on that particular the security issues or aspect of digital banking. When it comes to digital banking, you know, these cyber security issues. We have the unethical hackers who are able to penetrate into our system and do their fraudulent activities. How safe are customers when they are having the operations online or doing banking online? How safe are they?
Thank you, PAPALAW, for the question. The assurance that I give to customers and listeners is that banks are expected to have some minimum standards of cybersecurity. I believe it is the same for the telcos.
That's right.
And this is regulatory. If a financial institution licensed by Bank of Ghana does not have that standard, they will be sanctioned.
Okay.
And that standard requires that you build up your systems to prevent such kinds of attacks. So there are, tools, firewalls, and protection of servers and what have you. We are also enjoined by the Data Protection Commission to protect customer data. So banks are not supposed to disclose clients' data without the necessary mandates or unless a court of law
orders,
request of that. So clients should be assured, or listeners should be assured that banks have a requirement. That's why banking is a regulated industry. Make sure that every bank you are dealing with, or every financial institution you are dealing with, they have a Bank of Ghana license. When you walk into their premises, look out for the Bank of Ghana license, which is that Opportunity International Savings and Loans is licensed by Bank of Ghana to do this business.
That's right.
XXYZ Bank is licensed by Bank of Ghana to do this business. That should give you assurance that they are checked by the regulator to ensure that, one, the customer is protected from a digital financial perspective, because there are cybersecurity directives that have been issued to all financial institutions to protect customers, to help to protect customers. banks have been mandated to have cyber security departments in each bank.
That's right.
And have what we call a cyber information security officer, CISO, in short, who is supposed to be the safeguard, protecting the ecosystem of cybersecurity and monitoring. Banks are supposed to put in monitoring mechanisms to be able to identify real-time transactions and illegal transactions coming into the banking system. And they're supposed to also report immediately to the cybersecurity authority and the central bank should they identify any cybersecurity risk, either in the bank or within the industry. So there are protocols which are checked religiously by the regulator, and institutions are supposed to conform. And that should give confidence to customers that this is a regulated area. The telcos are also regulated by the National Communication Authority, and together we should have comfort that transactions will happen. Yes, there may be a few exceptions here and there, but they are well dealt with because they are monitoring systems in place.
That's right. Some customers will say when it's traditional and my money is deducted, or I've not made any transaction, but there's deduction, I can just walk to Madam A or B or Brother A or B and then complain. But sometimes your money or your deposit is deducted when you have not made any transactions. In such case, where do you go first, or what do you do as a customer?
If your deposit is deducted on a mobile wallet, then the first place, and you haven't signed up for any service,
that's right,
then the first place to go is the office of the telephone company.
Okay.
Because they will have the back end of the transaction to know where the credit went to.
Okay.
And what the underlying transaction was. They will be able to investigate and give you information as to what happened. If there's a debit on your bank account, but it happened digitally, the bank can also have the back end of the record.
Okay.
Let me tell you, PAPALAW.
Yes, sir.
Every transaction that happens in a bank, the database is kept for a very long time.
Wow.
So even if after 10 years you want to check the back end of a transaction that happened, you can check it.
That's amazing.
And the bank is obliged to provide that information for you. So depending on what transaction it is, whether it's a telco-led transaction happening on only the mobile wallet, or a bank-led transaction happening on a bank account, and you receiving an alert because you subscribe with a cell phone banking solution to the bank, you should go to the bank to check. Remember, as we talk about digital financial services, this conversation has been limited a lot more to mobile money transactions. But there are other digital transactions,
the
ATM cards, internet banking,
that's right.
now cryptos coming in, and etc. That's a different level.
PayPal and the likes.
Yes. Whatever the underlying transaction is, the source will either be from a telco or from a bank.
Okay.
So once there's any illegal activity, know where the transaction happened. Is it just on your mobile wallet, or it happened on a bank account and it's reflected?
If it's bank, you go to the bank.
You go to bank. If it's a mobile wallet, you go to the telco.
Amazing. Yeah. So could you explain the concept of open banking and its impact on the digital banking ecosystem?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Could you explain the concept of open banking and its impact on the digital banking ecosystem?
Yeah, open banking is more like branchless banking. Branchless banking, and that's exactly what we've described this morning, that now you don't need to have physical branches to bank with a bank. And wherever you are in the open, once you are connected by mobile money or any other digital app, you are connected to the bank. But some banks have apps, you can just download the app and you can engage the bank, because your mobile ID is known, your national ID will be captured into the, when you are logging onto the app, and etc. And once those details are there, the basic know your customer have been fulfilled. So banking has become open. It's just the English, I'll just use the translation.
Terminologies. That's right.
It means that there are no barriers to banking.
Right. That's right.
Barriers have been removed or limited to create increased level of access. And open banking is a cardinal a strategy for financial inclusion, because it helps to push banking to the doorsteps of customers, the average customer, I should say.
One of the all important questions: how do digital banking platforms leverage emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, that is the AI, and machine learning to enhance customer experiences?
Yes, a lot of banks are now moving into data analytics, mining data to know the behaviors and trends and patterns of customers, and that helps in product development.
That's right.
When you spend a lot on your card, on your mobile wallet, when you analyze that data over a horizon, you'll be able to see the spending habit of an individual.
Okay.
When you spend on cash, it's difficult to see because you buy from a TC, the corner shop, you buy Coffee Brookman at the corner, you buy. So that data, it's not recorded.
That's right.
But when you buy digitally, either with a card, with your online banking platform, or with your Momo, data is being picked on your spending or on what you spend your money on and extra. And over time, you can analyze that data to know your spending habits, to know even your credit worthiness. So now, some banks will just send you information saying you qualify for a loan of 5,000. Why are they doing that? They have analyzed your data and know your credit worthiness.
That's right.
And know that if you take a loan of 5,000 for 6 months, you can easily pay based on your spending habits and how much you earn. So it's about a synchronization of data. One, you have the national biometric data, you have the credit reference bureau data, which shows the borrower behavior of all customers. Banks are supposed to report on loans that they have created to the credit reference bureau, and also the behavior of those loans. So if the customers are paying their loans, they are getting a green record. If customers are not paying their loans, they are getting a bad record. So they go to another bank to borrow, they say, no, you can't take this loan. It's the previous record that is stored in the system that is affecting the customer. Some customers don't know, so they think that they can take a loan from here, run to another bank and take another loan. In the long run, that data is being organized. And that's where artificial intelligence, data analytics, and AI and all that comes to bear. So banks are increasingly embracing technology in analyzing customer behavior, customer patterns, spending habit patterns, and using that to also offer solutions in terms of products and services for customers. So, if you analyze data of traffic in a branch, over time you realize that if that trend continues for 5 years, you wouldn't have a branch there. So you should be planning to close that branch and improve on digital access for customers in that location. So these are things that are happening already.
So what role do mobile banking applications play in the digital banking space, and how they have evolved over time?
Mobile banking applications have really emerged and matured in our market. The ecosystem of digital banking was very limited until mobile apps came into being. And they are cardinal because of the flexibility they also offer. Mobile banking apps have multiple services as against probably mobile money connected to a bank. So with a mobile wallet, you have all the range of services. You want to apply for a checkbook, you can. You want to apply for a loan, you can. You want to transfer money, you can. Almost all the range of financial services that you need from a banking hall, you can do that on a mobile app. Whereas in the case of maybe a mobile wallet, maybe a USSD channel linked to a bank account, you can't have all the full range of services. So I would say that mobile app is an enhanced form of ability to interact with a bank on diverse products and services, and that has been phenomenal in taking traffic. How many banks do you go and see traffic now? In the queue. I mean,
right.
Now you go to most banks. Yeah, you go to most banks, and within 2-3 minutes you are gone. And as banks continue to invest in this space, it will get better for the customer because the customer's time is respected.
That's right.
Flexibility is offered. You can use a mobile app any time of the day. Previously, people will run just because the bank is going to close at 4 and they have to do a
That's right.
transaction.
That's right.
These days,
Even during weekends, you struggle to get money. I
you
mean,
struggle
but
to get
today,
money
any
and
day,
etc.
you have money.
But now with a mobile app, you can do whatever you want to do out there in the street if you don't have cash on you. So I think that mobile apps have become integral part of banking now, and to continue to be a viable means of client and bank engagement into the future.
Because of your time, I know you're a very, very busy person. You attend to almost 20 things in a day. So let me take my last two questions. In what ways are traditional banks collaborating with fintech companies to enhance their digital banking offerings and stay competitive in the market?
Thank you, PAPALAW, for this question. I would say that collaboration has been a key aspect of this transformation as far as digital banking is concerned.
That's right.
Traditional banks didn't have the technology and experience with some of these
Fintechs and companies.
fintechs and etc. So fintechs came up strongly, but over time you realize that no, the fintechs are getting into the space where they are partnering with the banks, and the banks are also partnering with the fintechs because you cannot have it all. God did not create us that one human being can have everything. We all complement. Yes, we all complement each other, and it's been phenomenal that banks are collaborating. If you look at some of the quick loans that people are able to do on their phones, these are collaborations between fintechs and banks.
Okay.
To enable that to happen. There are a lot of products and services online. People buy from online shops, get the products delivered to their doorstep. How is that possible? Because the fintech has collaborated with the merchant or the producer of the product, which the transaction settles with a bank,
That's right.
and it gets delivered by a dispatch. But the whole ecosystem is enabled by a financial transaction. And where does the financial transaction sit? It sits with the bank. Because fintechs are not supposed to be banks. But they enable the bank transactions to happen and relate to the bank for it to terminate or it to conclude.
That's right.
Then the transaction happens on the other side. So there's been massive, almost all the banks now have electronic banking departments or e-banking departments that have some innovation embedded internally, but also have relationships with fintechs that partner with them on some core services that enable customers to relate with the bank. So the collaboration has been good, and it will deepen with time.
Amazing. Finally, is there a future for digital banking in Ghana? From your experience, from where you sit and the spectacle you are wearing now, can you say Ghana has a future when it comes to digital banking?
I'd say yes, PAPALAW, and three perspectives. One, we have a very young population. Then the last population census indicates that over 50% of our population are below 30.
That's right.
So that should tell us that who are the ones who are likely to use technology? It's the youth.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some adults who are also very technology savvy. But it gets better when more youth pick up digital platforms to use. So the population dynamics tells us that there's a future. Number two, the ecosystem has been well enabled. We didn't have mobile interoperability for mobile money. Now we have interoperability. You can move money from Vodafone to Airtel Tigo or MTN, vice versa, without a problem.
That's right.
As compared to the era of the past. Now we have eSwitch as well, and we have the Ghana Pay from gifts.
That's right.
These ecosystems have been built by the government, and the regulation also about from NCA about what do you call it, SIM cards registration, and the regulation back in that space also enhances the security aspect. So the ecosystem from a government perspective is there. The third bit is that as the society becomes more enlightened and more transformed, these things will happen naturally. So people are getting more education, people are becoming enlightened, people go online and see things happening, people are shopping from outside, people are eating from shops and malls that have technology to be able to accept payments in non-cash ways and etc. So as the whole ecosystem moves, there's a future. And more emerging technologies are going to come to even challenge what is there, which will make it even much more better. So I believe that the future looks great for digital banking.
Your final word, sir.
My final word is that we should all help to protect the ecosystem of banking. Digital banking has come to stay, but for traditional banking, it's also embedded in the bank's architecture. But it works side by side together to enhance customer transactions and bank customer relationships. But it takes all of us, both the bankers and also the public, the customers, to protect the ecosystem for it to achieve the objective that is set for it to achieve.
Finally, why should I bank with Opportunity International?
Opportunity International is a global brand which is represented in 23 countries across the globe. It's a well-structured, well-run savings and loans company, licensed by the central bank, has been in this country for 19 years, and has built a client base of 637,000. That shows the public confidence that we have and the brand that we have been able to build. And it's also a bank that is there for the masses. People who typically wouldn't even ever want to go into a banking hall, we open our doors to them. And our vision is to see that lives are transformed. So if you want your life to be transformed, which I believe you do, then you want to bank with Opportunity International Savings and Loans Company.
I like that. Thank you, sir. We are so grateful.
Thank you, and thanks to the listeners for having me.
We are so grateful.
You're welcome.
All right, so that was Mr. Kwame Owusu. He's the CEO of Opportunity International. He's a banker and a financial expert. He's also the board chairman of Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies. Thank you for educating us. God bless you. All right, so that was Mr. Kwame Owusu. He's the CEO of Opportunity International. He's a banker and a financial expert. He's also the board chairman of Ghana Association of Savings and Loans. All right, David Santos. What a day. I have really been educated today.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Yeah. Digital is going to help.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Because
he's a good teacher.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, PAPALAW radio. I mean, Mpɔtam morning show. I mean, we don't bring anybody on board to come and.
Untia
ubeti.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Ubeti super. He's really educated.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I'm giving you 5 minutes.
Okay.
So you are going to touch on today's John Appiah's education on office romance and various newspapers. Today the politicians they didn't have their show.
Yeah.
Today was basically
we'll do it for them
education.
today.
Tomorrow we'll do it
tomorrow they will come on
That's
board.
right. That's right. So this guy's issue against John Dramani Mahama is really trending.
Yeah.
I can see a viewer. He said CC Moral. He quoted actually article 66 of Ghana's constitution. A person elected as president shall, subject to clause 3 of this article, hold office for a term of 4 years, beginning from the date on which he is sworn in as president. A person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms. People are also alleging that he continued the first term of the late president, John Ivanzata Mills. That's a 6 months from July 24th to January 7th. Yes. So people of the view that is first, and the last one was the 2012 to 2016. So he's done. Yet Kenneth Kuranchie can get something from this. The framers of the constitution were very clear. The office of the president shall be occupied by any elected person for a maximum of 2 terms, that is 4 years apiece or for each. This means a maximum of 8 years if only voted for. The 8 years could be consecutive or another 4 years after the first 4 years break due to loss of election. The person can return, and if voted for, will complete his or her final 4 years term. in the case of a vice president, if a vice president should pass away, the vice president takes over. If the remaining period, the vice president should continue is 2 or more years, it becomes his or her first ruling term. Okay, and has 1 more term, either continues or after a break. This is amazing. I have never come across the vice president's position in the constitution. If he, peradventure, if we should lose a vice president, he should continue his 2 or 3 more years. If he becomes his or her first term, he has 1 more term. So if supposedly your main president dies and you have 2 or more years, 2 to 3 years, to complete his term, we'll term the first one as your first term. That's within a 4-year term, and then you can go for another one. But with the president, he can complete it and come back again as a president. That's right. So now in the case of if John Dramani Mahama, JDM, the period he continued after John Evans at Mills was less to be considered his first term. So the 6 months, all that this person is saying is the 6 months isn't enough to qualify him as that tenure as his first term as president.
Just 6 months.
That's right. So go ahead. Your 5 minutes starts.
Okay. Attorney.
Yes, sir.
I would like to start with the newspapers. And every country is governed by rules and regulations.
That's right.
And nobody is above the law.
Yes,
even though we sat to write the laws. But when the law grabs you, you don't say that I'm the one who wrote it. Or I'm the one who wrote it. So when it's my turn, I can dodge it. You have no right. And I've seen that power is working now. Where people will be making a whole lot of noise.
For me, the only challenge I have with some of these processes is they will start like this. But
strong
the court
energy.
Procedures. The court. So we are pleading with the new CJ to expedite, instant justice. The things should be done quick, because justice delayed is justice denied.
Exactly.
So I feel we have to get to the point where our judicial system will expedite action when it matters.
You are right, Attorney. You are right, because
the delays, before you realize, the feeling is gone.
And
Ghanaians will take their eyes off, and the next thing is the case is
especially when it comes to the role of our leaders,
especially the politicians.
For them, they have a way of dodging it.
Go and steal cassava, you be in jail.
Somebody went to steal the cock I don't know, chicken wings, and almost them I don't know whether that's 5 years.
All right, so chicken you go ahead.
So
you have 3 minutes. Your time is running.
So when it comes to our leaders too, they should do same to them.
That's right.
Attorney, today we've learned a lot from His Excellency John Appiah. Office.
We have only one excellency in Ghana.
Is there?
We have one, who is the current president.
This is a youth.
He's president in the making. So add that. Because in Ghana, if you say His Excellency, they will come after you. In America, even if you are a former president, they still call you President Mahama, President Barack Obama, President.
But they have to add a former.
You have to add the former. To show
this one, they're incoming.
That's right.
Incoming.
So you go
and we've learned a lot today. Office romance, no dear. And then I will say, a cost super. But just say, yen shed that fire near coho. Say, dear, Papa actually, and some of us will not be part.
BM said them go for PAPALAW radio.
Thank you, including what you are thinking.
Call Gobsi to BM almost BM
Omuti. Yes, and I quote, he said, our hormones and emotions. Don't think.
Oh my goodness. And if your erection determines your direction, you don't think.
Is there?
What's it? Adam kind one.
No, I just want you to repeat
If
it.
your erection directs you don't think again. So you shouldn't allow your erection to direct your part.
Hey, I tell you.
He said emotions and all that.
He
Don't
didn't
think.
add erection. You are adding it.
My poor wife. Next on your radio. All right, so that was Mpɔtam Morning Show with PAPALAW Perfect. We stream live on Facebook, on YouTube, on all our social media handles. God bless you, producer one. GH. God bless you, Madam Gifty Anane, for being part of this great team. Thank you. God bless. All right, so it's not too late to share. Keep sharing. Go ahead and share the broadcast. Expect the midday news. And then we'll come with country music. We'll show you who controls the country. And it's PAPALAW Radio. And Anamba Anan will do justice to that. Then Ghana and Sensem will come your way. Kofi Yesu with Ghana and Sensem. Cheselina will come your way with Pilolo Drive. Today, a great artist is coming into the house. So expect them. 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. GMT. Cheselina will take the center stage, control the console. And then so Oluki Logoligi Biza. And some more. Cheselina, early in the morning. Oluki Logoligi. Alright, so stick and stay right here. I came, I saw, and I conquered. The name remains PAPALAW Perfect. Straight up, don't crooked up. I'm out.